First off, thank y'all for coming out. You know what I'm saying? This is a great day in so many ways. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to thank everybody first off. I also want to thank the Papa, as we call the all. You know what I'm saying? My ancestors, our ancestors known and unknown. You know, our gods known and unknown, and that continue to walk with me and guide me on this journey. You know what I'm saying? I'm affectionately known as Your Brozo. The spiritual name is Muzosa Ankhat. It means born of divine body, eternal ruler of the house. I was given that by the Honorable Dr. Malik Azir, Baba Yanun. Okay, in one of the many schools I've been through. This workshop that I'm inspired is because in my long journey in life, you know, I had to go through a lot of learning and trials, tribulations, you know, different things, studying. I can't emphasize this more. Study. Years of studying, you know, years of studying. I can't emphasize it more. Years of studying, experience, you know, traveling the world and all these different things. And, you know, one of the things that this got me to was one of the most important things is African spirituality. You know what I'm saying? Knowledge itself, of course, but African spirituality and also connecting with the ancestors. You know, out of all the stuff I've learned, this has been one of the most important things that I can say that I have to tell us as melanated and non-ether beings. Because no matter what people say is your salvation, I don't care if they say religion, politics, whatever, these is your true salvation for you and your family. Connecting with your ancestors, you know, knowing knowledge of self and who you are as a being, you know, and non-ether melanated being, you know, because one of the things I've learned is that we've been told everything lies about who we are. Oh, you know, you slaves and all this kind of crazy stuff, you niggas and all this kind of stuff. No, that's not who we are originally. That's a name that we've, you know, that they put upon us to try to hide us from who we really are. And one of the things that through my studies I've learned is that the non-ether being is a anthropomorphic technology that integrates into the universe. You know, it was created with the universe and made and brought here as a part of a technology. That's why you're able to see all of these great things we're able to do, you know, do magic, you know, heal people with tantra. All the things, let's just say Jesus did, you know what I'm saying? All these great things Jesus did, he would, you know, he wasn't the only person that could do it. Many of us could do it, you know? And that in conjunction with the age of Aquarius or the sun cycle, you know, it's like the non-ether being is like a supercomputer that's turned offline right now. You know what I'm saying? And with the the energies that are coming from the sun? What they call the solar flame? No, those two, but what's the name of I'm going for the neutrinos. That's what I'm trying to say. The neutrinos. Those neutrinos that are coming from the sun, the solar flare, is waking up the dormant DNA, which they call junk DNA. It's not junk DNA. You know what I'm saying? It's just sleep, you know, literally. So we are like supercomputers that are asleep right now, you know. And the sun cycle that our great mother, Ra, you know what I'm saying? Ra, the sun, is waking us up, hitting this planet, our great mother. And us as that technology, we're starting to wake up, you know. So this sun cycle is a very important thing. Age of Aquarius is synonymous with sun cycle. This is a very important time because this is our time, you know, in which we start to become, we remember again. That's the biggest thing. We had amnesia. You know what I'm saying? We forgot our language. We forgot our culture. You know what I'm saying? So now we're coming back into this time frame in which we start to remember again. And all of the forces of nature are on our side. You know what I'm saying? You know, before we can't say that much. In the Pisces age, it was all about lies and illusion, all this kind of stuff. The age of Aquarius, the sun cycle, it's our time. And I don't care what anybody says, nothing's going to stop that. You know, it's inevitable. Nothing is going to stop the inevitable of our rise and our greatness to be who we used to be. And it's no shade on nobody else because you got your time, right? But give us our time and let's see what we can do with this planet as opposed to all bombing people up and murdering people. You know what I'm saying? Give us our time to heal the mother. You know what I'm saying? Give us our time to raise the frequency of this, this planet, and ultimately our surrounding areas in the universe. Give us our time to do that. So, and saying all that, again, thank y'all very much for coming out. And I specifically asked certain individuals to come to this lecture because of how they're part of my book and what I'm trying to convey. So the first brother I'm going to do, let's be done, is Don. And this brother deals specifically with the heart, and this very important what this brother has to say, because this is something a lot different than just like Tantra. It's something different than like metaphysics. Is dealing, with the heart, and this whole science behind the heart. A lot of us don't even realize. So, in saying all that, it's your floor, brother.
So I'm DJ Green. Real quick, I did Tantra, did Qigong, and as I was doing those Tantra and Qigong, things started to come to me like step by step. And like I said before, in the beginning, I thought I was losing my mind. I thought I was tripping. And I realized, like, oh no, this is real. What's being shown to me. And then I showed a few steps to a few other people, and they got the same results. And they kept going and going. So eventually, they showed me the system. They just let me name it the integration system. But basically, so you starting off with your heart. You're clearing out your heart. You're clearing out the different sections of your heart. The heart gets lighter. It gives you more access to other aspects of you, your different energy bodies, your soul, your spirit. Then you taught me how to not only you're working on yourself, you're working on you can work on other people, and it helps boost up your confidence in yourself on a whole nother level. I know I only have a short period of time. Okay.
We got you.
Okay. Well, I'll be very interactive. So in the beginning, I'm having everybody, you just find somebody to pair up with, and then we'll do just little basic steps of like moving your energy. And then we will have it to where you start moving it inside of your heart and having the energy move from your hearts. So one of the things that helps is a big, goofy, cheesy smile, all your teeth and gums showing, and just holding it. I mean, I know if you haven't done something like this before, it might feel like a little bit unusual, but after a while you get used to it. I mean, there's something, these stuff so you can take home and do it when you're driving, or you're riding in the car or something like that. So in the beginning, I just ask everybody just hold a big cheesy smile on their face, teeth and gums showing. It's all right. You're gonna feel awkward, but it's fine. So the first exercise I'm gonna just have, so I'm gonna have everybody just flick their hands out. It's almost like if you see like one of them sci-fi movies or the kids like Dragon Ball Z, like you shooting energy out of your palms and your hands. So I'm gonna have you do that 81 times. All right, ready, set, go ahead. Hold that big cheesy smile on your face. It's like you're really shooting energy out of your head. Let's getting the hands warmed up. Hold that big cheesy smile. It's fine if you're laughing and giggling. That's perfect. Go away from work. When you get to 81, just let me know.
Start at the same time.
It felt good. I felt it. I was like, that's what I was like, good.
All right. Don't go past 81. Big cheesy smiles on your face. Teeth and gums showing.
Okay.
All right. Now put your hands up as if you're grabbing something out of the air. Do that 81 times.
Wax on, wax off.
Grabbing it out the air. Pulling it inside. Come on in. Looks like you really grabbing something out there and pulling it into you. And big cheesy smiles on your face. See teeth and gums showing. Teeth and gums showing. Grab it out there. Hold the smiles, hold the
All right.
All right, everybody stand up. All right, everybody stand up. While you holding them big cheesy smiles on your face. So once you put your hands maybe about 10 inches apart. And just stay relaxed, big cheesy smiles. And some of you might have done this particular exercise before. So as you slowly inhale, you slowly move your hands apart. And as you exhale, you slowly move them forward. And stay relaxed. And just keep doing that over and over. And what's going to begin to happen, you're going to start to feel the energy build up in the inside of it.
We said inhale, exhale, we sit down.
So as you inhale, you slowly moving them apart. As you exhale, you slowly moving them forward.
Oh, wow.
So let me know when you start to feel it. Yeah. So keep your focus there. Let it get stronger and stronger. Keep that big cheesy smile on your face. Teeth and gums showing. If you don't feel it, sometimes come a little bit closer if you don't feel it. All right. Feeling it? There we go. Stay relaxed. And you start to play with your own energy. Let it get stronger and stronger. Now this will help relax you. Just things you can do out in nature, or if you got plants at home. So remember, you want to keep the smiles on your face. Now start to move it like this, like a bicycle. See if you can feel the energy as you move it like this. Clockwise and counterclockwise. The slower, the subtle, the more powerful. Keep the big cheesy smiles on your face. And then you can rotate it the opposite direction. It'll feel like a pedal or something, right? Keep smiling. The bigger the smile, the better. All teeth and gums showing. Barely see your eyes. There we go. Remember, the more subtle, the more slower, the more powerful. And relax into it. Now, like if you're playing in snow, that create like a big energy ball of joy. And pack it in. See how tight you can get it, how big you can get it while you playing with your energy.
Oh, wow.
And the more you do it, the stronger it gets. So inhale, exhale, and then if you want to do it clockwise or counterclockwise. And then eventually you're gonna make like you're making an energy ball of snow filled with joy. It's like you're packing it in, it's getting stronger and bigger. And you got like plants at the house. You can do this with the plants. I'm sure all of you heard like the story how people say how they would go to a plant and call it pretty and they call it ugly and how it would grow faster or would die faster. You do this with a plant also, with joy or peace or grace or love, whatever you want to do to it. You guys feeling it? And sometimes, like depending on, like say if somebody have a headache, if it's not something from like maybe like the hormones being off, but it's like a slight headache, you can create like a big ball of joy or peace of grace and you put it over the head, and then after a while the headache will go away. Or if you get your hands warmed up enough, like how you was doing this,
Wow. It's just like you created.
you should start to feel the energy around them. And sometimes you'll feel the smooth parts, the rough parts. You can smooth it out, or the rough parts you can start picking away at it, smoothing it back over in the aura. So just how you feel it is, you can feel this internally inside your heart. But before we get there, so everybody's paired up. So Melissa's coming back. All right. So I'm gonna have you come stand close to the wall and face him. Y'all face each other. Everybody that's partnered up, have you face each other. Just that's a good distance where you at. hold your hands out like this. Come back some. Yeah, a little too close. Okay. A little bit. Come back a little bit further. Okay. So let me see. So everybody. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. You all are going to be doing the projecting. Everybody on this side, you're going to be doing the receiving. You're going to be doing the projecting. You're going to be doing the projecting. And then you're going to be doing the receiving. So what you're going to do, so now everybody that's doing the projecting, I just want you to take a slow, deep breath until it pushes your stomach all the way out. And then you're going to hold the stomach out. And then you're just going to breathe normal. So take a deep breath till it pushes your stomach all the way out. And then you're going to hold it out. And then you're just going to start breathing normal. Then for the ones that's breathing normal, you're going to start projecting out of the palm of your hands into their palm of their hands. And then, just slowly and gently like a wave. And then for the people that's receiving, I want you to just close your eyes and hold your hands up. So like a wave. It's like you're going to keep your stomach out. And you can relax and close your eyes and keep your hands up. The more you do it, you want to feel it. You see it at the palm of your hands. After a while, so you start rocking. So you might have to just rock it too much. So you have to grab it. I can try to do a part two. Just relax. So that's good. And that's what's supposed to happen. You want to feel the pull and push and pull. Yeah, that's when you know it's working. Yeah. And so if you got the person rocking back and forth, and for the people who's doing the projecting, keep an eye on the person. Make sure they don't fall.
I can't move that fast to catch you.
Just relax. You want to pay attention to their neck, see if their breathing is changing, if they're feeling tingling, if their hands are twitching, their eyes starting to twitch, all the above. You want partner work? Well, you'll be on the receiving end. As long as how you hold your hands up, just close your eyes. And then what you do, inhale deep until it pushes your stomach all the way out. And then you hold your stomach out. And then you just breathe normal. Once all the energy come out of your palm of your hands, it's his. You're just gonna relax. Just keep your eyes closed. You just keep on it. It's like a wave motion. Like you push them, pulling it back and forth, and you just stay relaxed. So then you got it right. See how he's rocking. Good. You can switch up. You can focus on joy or peace, grace, love, happiness. And you can see the different effects it might have on them.
Especially when you said that love, joy.
Whichever one you want to choose. There you go. Big cheesy smiles on your face for the ones that's projecting. Is everybody getting the hang of it? That's projecting. Good people who's receiving, are you feeling it?
Yes.
Okay. Y'all ready to switch? So So the people that's receiving, I'm gonna have you start doing the projection. You know, I already know how you feel, and you got to receive. I already know how you feel. This can be real elusive. We can do this stuff. Yeah, that's a nickname. Right, so for the people that was receiving, now you're going to be doing the projecting. So the people who was projecting, you're going to be doing the receiving. All right. All right, ready? All right, ready? Set, go. Big cheesy smiles on your face, teeth and gums showing. But especially for the people that's projecting. So remember, for the people that's projecting, you know, it's like a slow, subtle, but powerful, like a wave, like you sending them out of the palm of your hands. You focus on joy, peace, grace, happiness, whatever you want to focus on. You guys choose. Kicking in for you. Okay. So take a deep breath. So push your stomach all the way out. For people that's projecting, you're gonna hold it out and you're gonna breathe normal.
Say it again.
And then hold it out. And then start breathing normal. So joy, peace, grace, whatever you might feel you need, that's when you start working on that feeling and projecting. So if you got the person rocking, keep your eye on them. Make sure they don't fall. And when you're projecting, you want to keep an eye on them. See if they breathing change. If you might see in their necks, the pulse in their neck might twitch a little bit faster, or their hands might start twitching, or their eyelids. You want to keep an eye on them. The more relaxed, more soft, more subtle you are, the more powerful. Good, good, good. Doing something else, just the basics, what we supposed to do with this. Not so close. Yeah. Yeah, you back up some. Just move this part, probably. Just yeah, there you go. I'm body all right. Okay. So remember, the softer, the subtle, the more powerful. Big cheesy smiles on your face, teeth and gums showing. Teeth and gums showing. Try it high. Try like this. There you go.
Okay.
There you go. And if you want, for us people that's doing projecting, you can do it up high, in the middle, or you can start projecting, shooting it down low, like the lower half of their body. The more you get out your head, the stronger it gets. So if your mind is racing all over the place, then it's going to take away from it. I mean, but this is your first time, so it's like you're doing good. Now for the people that's projecting, we want to switch it up. Instead of using your hands, now I want you to start projecting out of your heart. So it's almost like you shoot like a torch field out of your heart into that person, shooting into their heart.
Switching?
No. But you still, the people who project, you still gonna project, but you're gonna project out of your heart instead of your hands.
So what do we do with our hands?
Put them in your pockets or put to your side. Yep. So now you're gonna put that awareness and center in your heart. And you're gonna start projecting to that person. Just how you was using your hands, you're gonna use your heart to project to them. A love, joy, peace, grace, happiness, whatever you feel like doing. Whichever you feel that they need. Keep your eye on them. Or if they're rocking, and make sure if you have to catch them or anything.
Feel it?
As a matter of fact, I'm gonna have the whole room that's projecting. Let's do joy first. Have everybody who's projecting, we're gonna project joy first. That's fine. You can close your eyes. You just open them up from time to time to keep an eye on the person projecting. All right, so we're gonna use joy. The whole room, joy. That part is the ones that's projecting. And you projecting out of your heart is like a water hose. Up and down their body, or if you want to make it big to where it engulfs their whole body, their whole aura, that's fine too. But if you just want to pinpoint and work on one area with your heart and work on them, that's fine too. Remember, if you can, a big cheesy smile for the people that's projecting. Teeth and gums showing. So far as projecting out the heart, for women, it tends to be a whole lot easier since that's your positive pole. And as you're projecting to that person, you want to feel what's going on with them also. See what else they might need that you can give them, whether it's heart, whether I know we're saying joy, or maybe they might need peace or grace. Know the person you projected on. If you know if there's somebody that's always in their head, then shoot from the heart energy, shoot it up to their head, to their third eye. And you're sitting there feeling the peace. For some of you, if it's your first time projecting and you're starting to sweat, that's fine. It's like you're using a different muscle. Everything's fine. Doing good. Big cheesy smiles on your face. Teeth and gums. Are you ready to switch? For the people that was receiving, now you're gonna start projecting, and you're gonna project from your heart to their heart. All right. You ready? All right, we can start.
Right.
Yeah, you put your hands up if you want to. Yeah, if you receive it, yeah. Pause for the ones that's projecting. You don't have to. You're not using your hands projecting out of your heart. Yeah, you keep them down. Big cheesy smile. You want to send love, joy, peace, grace, happiness, whatever it is you want to send. It's up to you. But you're gonna project out of your heart. So remember, if you project it, remember you want to inhale. So it pushes your stomach all the way out, hold it out, and then you're going to breathe normal, and then you're going to start projecting out of your heart. All right, we can start. For the new people that's coming in, let me see. I have the lady I have you start off projecting, and the guy may have you receive. So you're gonna face each other. So for the people that's projecting, remember, big cheesy smile on your face. You have your hands down. You're gonna be projecting out of your heart. You take a slow, deep breath until it pushes your stomach all the way out. You're gonna hold it out. Then you're gonna breathe normal. Then you're gonna start projecting out of your heart into the other person's heart. And the person who's receiving, you can stand there and relax. The more subtle, the more softer, the more powerful, especially when you get into a more rhythmic breathing. And relax. Relax your body. Big cheeks and smile on your face for the ones that's projecting. Teeth and gums showing. You see those teeth and gums when you project it. Now, once you feel like you have that connection with the other person's heart, ask their heart, what does it need from you? How can you help them? How can you help them energetically? See what comes in. Everybody's good. All right. You stop.
Who's our next? There's a lot of, it's like a tug of war.
Everybody okay?
But not that bad. Slowly. You're doing definitely.
Before I wrap it up, did anybody have any questions or anything they want to share what their experience was?
Yeah, I
You had said for the person that was receiving to feel that was projecting to ask the person to feel what they wanted to receive. And she did say something, but I felt like like I can feel it.
You got the connection, you got the answer. Yeah, we all had that ability. Just got to practice at it more. Yeah. I mean, and this is like I'm not trying to brag, but it's like baby steps.
And it really feel like I worked out my heart like that. I feel like a workout.
Yeah, because you're literally using your heart. Yeah. And then that, and then just doing, like, if you find somebody outside of here, ask permission.
Oh, of course.
So you have to ask permission so you don't get messed up. Because you never know who you might be trying to work on and you didn't get their permission. But just ask, get the permission. And the more you you do these type of exercises, the stronger you get, the more more things will come to you, different ways to use it also. But then also sometimes, just sit still and put your awareness in your heart, joy, peace, grace, or whatever it may be. But also be aware the more you do that, you're gonna start it's another form of purging also. So
Okay, because I wasn't sure what you said.
so whatever joy, peace, and grace, the more you start to infuse that into your heart, whatever's the opposite of that is gonna start to disrupt that. So it's gonna start to come to the forefront and let you know, okay, there's certain situations that you might need to let go of, or memory-wise slides to your heart. I won't take up too much time. We got other people, other speakers, but any other questions, anything?
I just want to say that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
And the heart energy was bigger and different from the hands.
Yeah.
And especially for the women, that's that's your positive pole. So projecting out the heart is gonna be a whole lot stronger, way more powerful.
When I was receiving it, it felt like it was whole body, glory, body.
Yeah.
Question, why 81? Why 81 times? I'm just
9. It goes back to 9.
Oh, it's a 9.
But yeah, but 9. But yeah.
It all goes back to
Yeah.
9
Yeah.
to complete.
Yeah. 8 plus
That's
1.
why. Is it?
Yeah, but I was just wondering.
No. That was from somebody else. Like all the stuff up into the heart part is like what I learned from like
Yeah,
Qigong.
push out 81
So
times.
all the other stuff
Push out 81 times, right?
wasn't mine. But as far as we got to the heart part,
81
yeah.
times. She asked me why 81, and then I said 9.
All right. Thank you. Thank y'all for
you.
participating.
Thank you.
All I'll be back.
All right, Don, thank you much. Yeah, see that's why I was saying it's like I don't know any of y'all how many raise your hand, how many have y'all done that before? So yeah, it's not to that extent, you know what I'm saying? Even me,
I just wanted to add, you do it outside in nature, the more powerful it gets to, especially with the sun or by different trees and water and all of that stuff, you get a different feel. So if you like a bonfire or something like that, it add to it. But now you're dealing with the elements.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Even all the tantra, tai chi, or the different things, like that's the first time I've ever felt that with the other individual. Even though I know it's there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've felt it before, but like that's what I'm saying, man. We gotta link with that brother. I'm telling you, man. Like, cause the normal things you do tai chi, and it's something different. Because until I met him, that's the first time I heard anybody talk specifically about the heart. And really can go deep about the heart. You know what I'm saying? So if y'all haven't already, please pick up my my book. It's only $10. The first page, I don't know if some of y'all already got it, so thank y'all, appreciate y'all. The first page I have in the book is the name of it is Pig Brain and Eggs. And the reason why it's named that because when growing up, and this is my blood brother, he's about to come on and he can attest to the story. So growing up, you know, of course our parents, you know, they just doing their best. They don't know, no shade on them, you know what I'm saying? But you know, that was one of our things. We'd have scrambled pig brains and eggs, you know what I'm saying? And you know, down the line, you know, this was in Virginia, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm sure that was some slave delicacy, as we were told. But down the line, I just come to find out how important it is for health. You know what I'm saying? I have a story when I was playing baseball, and you know, my hip was, I threw the ball, and my hip was like feeling crazy, and I was like, man, what's wrong? I went to the doctor, and they put up an X-ray. You know what I'm saying? They said, you see all this white stuff around your hip? I said, yeah. You know, they were like, that's arthritis. I said, I'm 32 years old. What, 32 years old? We talking about arthritis. You know what I'm saying? So, got in contact. Well, I started reading from Dr. Sadie. You know what I'm saying? And I started to be like, wait a minute, man, I ain't supposed to be eating all this meat. And I used to think that eating what are those meals, like the microwave meals and drinking fruit punch and all that kind of, I thought that was good. I'm healthy, you know what I'm saying? Man, that hip injury, once I started learning about herbs, you know, all these different things, by itself, the hip went away completely. I didn't have any issue. I still don't have any issues today. But it felt like it was going to be the end of the world with my hip. Like I was going to have a hip replacement. That's how bad it was. So health is wealth. You know what I'm saying? That's a big thing that I talk about in the book. I have a whole section on it. And brother Ronnie Kenyatta now, he's going to go ahead and speak about, you know, health and a couple other things. So, like I said, that's my blood brother. So Ronnie Kenyatta, did you look it up?
So, like I said, I'm Joe's brother, and obviously we go way back. So, I'm going to talk to y'all today about different aspects of health, but the main thing is life waves, basically this patch right here. And this was introduced to me. I work with athletes. I worked with the New York Mets for 12 years. I was strength conditioning coach with them. Started in 2001, had to leave in 2013 because I was diagnosed with a kidney disease in 2000. Second year of spring training. Dream job, you know, May 2000. Wake up one day and my left leg is huge. And go to the doctor. Long story short, I found out I had FSG. Same back in the day, Alonzo Mourning, remember what he had? Same thing. Actually met him when I was with the Mets at in Chesapeake at the gym. I was with the AAA team at the time. And we'd all lifted at the same gym. I walked in there. A couple days after I got diagnosed, and he had his press conference about it. And I just walked in and saw he was there. I went over and started talking to him. And, it was an interesting occurrence, you know, but that's my background. Work with the Mets now. I train athletes from middle school to professional now. And we had an event at the facility I work at, and somebody came up to me and said, you need to try these patches. I was running the facility, but a lot of cases you hear something, you're not even listening, you're just somewhere else. Then another lady came back to me and said, I got those patches, you got to get them. So that's what this is about. I'm going to talk more into that. I'll lead off with the football stuff here. You'll see why later, but 50 former Notre Dame football players actually wear this patch, and we'll talk about the exact reason why for later. So what it deals with is stem cells. All right, this patch, I'm going to talk about specific later, but this patch actually acts as a mirror. And long story short, patches awakens dormant stem cells in the body. And stem cells, this process, you might have heard of this right here. Super expensive, but not your stem cells. Doesn't always work, right? And the best case scenario, the stem cells are still it's temporary. The whole process is temporary. So you can spend $10,000, it might not work. If it does work, it's temporary, right? So, a disclaimer, gotta always say this, you know, we're not curing anything here. That's the bottom line, we're not curing anything. All right, so when this was first introduced to me, it was coming from the perspective of sports, right? And I'm always trying to get an edge from my athletes. And another person that introduced me brought up the Olympics, right? This company's been around for 20 years, but it was first been out to me this year at the 2024 Olympics through these individuals. Stanford University was using this back in 2014. Michael Phelps, we all know Michael Phelps. He was using it. The whole swim team was using it. They performed so well, they had to get drug tested again because they were trying to figure out what's going on. It made no sense how well they did. That's in 2014. This is the most recent Olympics. Stanford University still using the patch. Had the most participants and the most medals. So, and I know the name was up there as well. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I got to get this for my guys. The reason I had to get it for my guys because it's non-transdermal, right? In other words, you can take a shake at MLB and get something can come up, you get popped, right? Next thing you know, you're a minor league with no money. Next thing you get to set out like 20 games, right? So I don't like offering them shakes, even though I know they're clean. They don't know they're clean. The league doesn't know they're clean, and they barely want to take it. This is non-transdermal, meaning that nothing enters the body. It just sits there on the skin and activates certain peptides. I'm getting into that in a bit. But back to this, like I said, these are the results that caught my attention. And the particular patch that they used, this was the patch that they used during the Olympics, and it's a Class 1 medical device. So this is a legitimate device, really, medical device. So going back to the strength conditioning, a strength coach at Troy State, he did a test on there, and he tested for the flat bench press, as you can see. The third time around, they put on the patch. Not the first time around. Third time around, the bench went up that high. Same time, same thing with push-ups. Third set rep, the third set. They then put the patch on, everything went up 50%. So we're working with something that time, at that point. So this is what the coach had to say. We all familiar with ATP? ATP? That's our energy. That's our energy, right? So what he says here, according to his studies, this patch naturally increases ATP. That doesn't happen a lot. Everything that we come across to enhance performance is usually like it affects the hormones somehow, right? We all know about steroids, what they do, right? And the performance enhancements all come mostly from the endocrine system. So when you're just naturally raising ATP, that's a game changer in my field. So again, they have my attention at this point. So now we shift to the medical side. I think we all can agree with this right here. I'm a lifetime customer, so I'll speak firsthand. Grateful, wouldn't be here without the transplant, but at the same time, I know how the industry works. I found that out my last day at the Alchemist. I'm about to get off the bed, and the owner of the clinic comes up to me with this like puppy dog face. He's like, you're getting your kidney tomorrow, but you can go outside and get hit by a truck and have to be right back here. You sure you want to do this? I was like, wow. But I was kind of aware of this, but I had to step back and say, it's business. He's losing a customer at the end of the day, right? So it is what it is. But we all know how this. We all know this is true, right? So this one we might not know though. Stem cells is the key, all right? The number one indicator of well is directly correlated to stem cells. Stem cells. We think of our senior citizens when they break their hips and things of that nature. That could be avoided because after a certain age, the stem cells are gone or dormant. Not gone, dormant. It's different, right? So here's a fact right here. By 30, you've lost half of them, right? Half the stem cells are gone by 30. By 60, it's the 98 to 100%. Stem cells gone, right? So what can we do to awaken these stem cells? Because like I said, they're not gone, they're dormant in your body, they're dormant. So what can we do? Well, this patch, that get into the technical stuff later, this patch awakens this peptide right here. Activates this peptide right here. Once this patch activates that peptide, we have all these benefits. Like I said, peptides are everywhere right now. There's so many different peptides within our body, and people are always coming up with ways to activate them right now. But this is something you can walk around with throughout the day. So you can see the benefits of the GHKCU peptide. Now the patch, we call it photobiomodulation. So basically, they give you an example of what that's about. You walk out to the sun hits the cholesterol turns on to what? Vitamin D, right? This is the same thing. This patch does the same thing. We have internal light within us, right? Infrared light. You existing within us. The ingredients in this patch might be up here. There we go at the top. The amino acids, nanocrystals, water, all within here. That's like a mirror to reflect your natural light. And your natural light is what activates the stem cell, what activates the peptide that I mentioned. Activate that, and that awakens the dormant stem cell throughout the body. Now, what the difference is, stem cells are assigned to go find what's wrong within the body. So that's how it works, right? Another example is when a baby might have jaundice, when they're first born, they will put them in the blue light, and the blue light removes the jaundice. Same concept. It's another example of photobiomodulation. And again, just to be clear, the light reflects and hits the peptide. The peptides then activate the dormant stem cells. Another example right here. Red light therapy is another example of photomodulation. We're familiar with red light therapy, right? That's really big right now. Really big. So, an example, the internal light that we all have, reflecting off the body. God designed the body for low-level infrared light and heat, right? So, let me see. Now, for people that I talk to, I trusted the people that introduced me to this, but it's patented right here to show that, it's a direct sales product. So a direct sales product, most people have what's called Me Too products, right? Shakes, weight loss programs, all that stuff. Everyone has that. This being patented, this is the one patch that's available that does what it does, all right? So how does it work? We talked about that, how it works. Reflects light to the actives, non-transdermal, no drugs, chemical stimulants, and nothing like that. I have a good amount of my athletes on it, but there's one particular athlete, he's a Boston Red Sox, he's a young Boston Red Sox. He's AA right now. He's been on it for a month. I said, you try for 2 months and let me know. He called me up the other day. I said, where's my patches? Patches, right? Because his thing is, yes, everything I talked about before with the physical, but it does something mentally as well, with cognitive abilities and clarity. Now, you're going to learn later, around 6 months, it starts to merge the hemispheres of the brain. They have one patch that actually works with the pineal gland as well. So, but again, we talked about most of this, non-transdermal, non-invasive. Now, how do you wear it? The studies that showed it does what it does, these are the two locations where it's worn. Me, I just put it here because if I shake somebody's hand, they can see it, number one. And number two, when I first started, I had some wrist pain, and I put it there and it went away. So I just keep it there so people can see it, number one, and try to keep that pain away. So, but you wear it for 12 hours on, and you take it off for 12 hours, all right?
You have to change it each time?
Go back to that slide.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
That's right.
Say that again. You're saying about the patches.
Oh, how to wear them?
Yeah.
Yeah, how to wear them. So you can wear them. This is the study that performed. You wear it here, here. It's the back of the neck and above the navel, right? But I wear it here because I had pain here at one time, and plus I want people to see it when I shake their hand. So, that good?
And then you said for how long?
12 hours, yes. So you wear it for 12 hours and take it off. So I just tell people, you put it on in the morning, brush your teeth, put it on at that time. When you get home for work, just take it off. That's the simple way to do it, right? Make it part of your routine.
You putting the same patch back on, or you have a box?
You have these, we call them sleeves. It's 30 patches right here. 30 patches in here. So
For
take
1
them off
month, so you change them every day?
every day.
Okay.
And so we talked about how to wear them. Now these are some of the effects you see right here. In a few days, the genes begin to reset. Like I said before, brains begin to balance. I'm going to show you something about that later on. But then this is the big thing that a lot of the ladies in our team, they use it for the collagen effects. And then it starts to reverse the heart. There was a certain shot that was given out back in 2000. People can't say, it's helping. It's helping. It's helping. So yeah, helping people with that shot. So now going back to I mentioned inflammation. Well, this is an example of, I'm going to talk to the NFLPA soon, and this is the only reason I'm getting in there, because I mentioned the Notre Dame guys, right? They're on it, course, the physical trauma, right? But a lot of them order for the CTE, right? You saw the movie Concussion? Right. This helps with that. So this is an example, 77-year-old, she's a yoga instructor. This is day one. The red represents the inflammation as well as the lack of coherence, lack of brain coherence. This is session number 2. You can see things are cleared up, and this is where we are now. Minimal inflammation as well as more coherence. So again, that's the only reason they're letting me in, because of this. Those guys need it desperately. There's already, within my group, there's already 100 guys from the NFLPA already using this. So we're supposed to be in there by July or August. But it's tough getting in there, but we'll make it happen. Now this is the gentleman that found the peptide. The peptide and how powerful it is. And this is his quote right here about the patch itself. So, and there's tons of testimonials. This is financial side. We can talk. If you're interested, let me know. I don't want to get into that too much. This thing should have warned y'all about that. This is an example. This individual was told, he's a football player, NFL guy. They told him that you're gonna have to get this foot cut off because what this is, it wouldn't heal. Put him on the patch, and this was 4 weeks later. 4 weeks later.
Oh, wow.
It's an eye testimonial. Talks about how it helped this individual with their eyes. Now this is kind of crazy. Like about the, it's crazy. You can put these 3 of the patches. I have 2 of them right now. Cortisone and AER. That's this one right here. I don't have all 3 of them. These 2 right here. I'm getting glutathione in a couple of days. Strategically, I put these around the knee in this case, and it regrows cartilage in the knee. So yeah, those peptides can do anything. The Aeon is the big. I wear this a lot. This is big for inflammation. Right here. It's cortisone. It's good for the organs and I think cardiovascular effects, and it helps with the heart as well. So strategically put those around the knee, and it regenerates cartilage. Which is, like I said, kind of crazy. Still back. Bone on bone knees. Just breaking it down can rebuild lost cartilage. The thing, the one I'm about to get. And now this is getting into the money aspect of it. If you're interested, we can talk about it on the side. I'd rather talk about other stuff that I do. I think that's all financial right there. So if you're interested from the financial perspective, want to know more, just let me know. We can talk afterwards. So if I have enough time, with my passion, as much as I enjoy seeing people getting results off of this, my passion is really this photo I'm going to open up and show you the PDF. It deals with mindset. This event is building the event. The cars out there all started with what? One thing. What's that?
Thought.
There you go. It all started with what? With thought. Well, as we know, you master your thoughts, you master life, right? So that's what I got into going through the kidney thing. And there was a series of events. I just had, fear and trauma just growing up. But you're young, you figure you work through it. I had 3 particular events, but the 3rd event was one of the spring trainings with the Mets. It was one of the most important ones at the time because it was Willie Randolph's first year. It was an all-black staff in New York, right? So that was unheard of at the time. So first spring training in a room about 3 or 4 times the size of this, the whole organization's there. And all I had to do was say my name. I didn't have to do that, really. They would say it for you. I didn't know. So I spent the whole off season before saying, I am not scared, I'm not fearful, I'm not nervous, this, that, and the other. Thinking I'm doing the right thing, right? So they get about 2 people from me. And my heart goes, I start pouring sweat. I'm kind of used to that, but not this severe. Start pouring sweat. And the thing that was new for the heart pounding here and in my throat, it was crazy. But I had them before. But what I never felt before was, it felt like somebody had a knife and just digging in my stomach out of nowhere. The door was right over that area. I'm pouring sweat. I was like, I'm getting out of here. So I just literally collapsed on the floor. And I didn't know what was going to happen next. Never felt all this at once. And this is what I knew was all in my head. It's like I didn't hear it, but it's like my body heard it. The meeting ends. Sweat evaporates right away. Pain goes right away. Everything just stops. I was like, "Dang, it's all in my head." And as I found out later, when I was programming myself, I was programming myself with the fear. I was programming myself with the anxiety, right? Saying, fearful, using those words. That's all subconscious hears, right? Oh, you're scared. You think you're saying one thing, you're saying another. You're saying you're scared, you're fearful. I should have been saying I'm courageous, I'm strong, all that stuff. So that's when the switch went on for me. And what I did, I'm trying to pull up in the IEL folder. Oh, here it is, right here. There's a PDF I put together. Right here. This isn't the final version, but it's an 8-week program. It's for athletes right now, but that's just a way for me to get in and talk to people, because everybody has their issues, whatever it is. Everybody has a level of anxiety.
Transforms long meetings, YouTube videos.
Everybody has a level of anxiety, right? They just express it differently. It could be what I'm doing right now. If I'm up here walking around. Public speakers at the highest level, they can pick the smallest things, right? So going back to the anxiety, and I just wanted a way to get my foot in the door. I work with athletes, so I came up with what's called the Integrated Athletic Enhancement Program. It's an 8-week program for athletes, and I'm even starting to work with adults now and non-athletes. 8-week program. The first week, what we talk about is you, the human being. This whole journey took me into Eastern medicine, right? Anybody familiar with the 5-element theory? 5-element theory? Yes. So that's what got me to understand, okay, kidney transplant, tremendous fear. Found out later they were together, right? Those organs, they work together. So I had to reverse that, right? I did everything known to man. I went to Priestess, I went to everybody, right? And during that process, this came together. I have an updated version now, but this is the one that was easiest to snag for y'all. I'll go back to it. The first half, identify you as the person, your strengths and your weaknesses. And identify your personality type. Are you a water? I'm a water. So water, you have fear, you have courage. In the East, we know it's about the yin and yang, right? It's about the yin and yang. So my job is to get you all back to balance, regardless of your sign, right? Regardless of your symbol. If you're an earth, I need to get you back to balance. If you're a metal, it's always about getting you back to homeostasis. That's what we do for the first part. You need to have some type of wins constantly to even start shifting your mind that way. So I came up with a number of, the first week you learn habits and routine, right? You learn the journal, right? You learn affirmations, right? You learn meditation. And the last week you learn the most important thing, mindfulness. Because that's how we get in trouble, right? Mindfulness, we thinking here in the future, what do? We get nervous, we get anxious. Back here, what do? We think about the past, we beat ourselves up, we get depressed. So the kids, the first week, they learn who they are. They learn, again, the strengths and then the weaknesses. They gather, I call them tools, emotional tools. They get the tools of the visualization. They get all these tools that I mentioned previously. And what they need to do as an athlete is come up with their own mental system. The first 4 weeks, you have your human system, right? But then these kids, these athletes, they'll get nervous inside the game. So they need to have habits that they can do before the game and routines they can do after the game to swing them back to the balance point. And that's what it's all about. Again, the yin and the yang, you got to have that balance point. You can't be too happy. I mean, that sounds crazy. You still can't be too happy. Obviously, you want to be over here too sad. We need to be here. From a sports perspective, I spent my background is baseball. You can go 4 for 4 over here. That's the greatest thing you can do. What happens if you go 0 for 4 over here? You have two choices. You can swing back and forth with your emotion, right? Or you can always use belly breathing. You can use journaling. You can learn visualization to swing you back in, right? And then we have the cycle of mindfulness. Like I said, that's what it's all about, that mindfulness. Always coming back to the present, right? The cycle of mindfulness and you're focused, you're distracted, you acknowledge the distraction, you bring yourself back, you implement your trigger. Again, that could be the breathing, that could be whatever it is. You implement your trigger, and you bring yourself back to you're present, right? So that's the cycle that we all go through 24/7. How quickly can you bring yourself back to the present moment is the key, right? How quickly can you bring yourself back to the present moment and back to your balance state? When you do that, you figure out life, right? You figure out life. That's when the organs start to take care of themselves. That's when your body naturally starts to take care of themselves, right? We all have energetic within the kidneys, a certain tonic exercises I do to keep that energy flowing throughout the body, right? You know, there's a couple I do. One of just do this is a tonic kidney exercise I do. This is another one I do. Yeah. Just to get that energy flowing, right? Because it gets stagnant, right? And that's what the body does on its own. That's without you implementing, you know, the things that bring you back to the balance point, right? Talking around athletes all the time, it's a playbook. It's your human playbook, right? You have your different tools, whatever, meditation, visualization, but you need to understand what works for you and what brings you back to that mindfulness, that point of balance where you can exist in a calm, controlled state of mind, and that's going to translate to the physical. We all know that the internal is off, the external is going to be off. You know, in Western civilization, we've been taught the external comes first. We all in this room know it starts internally, right? We're in line with the planets, we're in line with this earth. Whatever happened here is happening on the earth and vice versa, right? So that's my goal, is to teach the kids that I work with, even the men that I work with, that this is how we have to, let's just say men and women that I work with, we need to always turn things back to balance. And it's so funny because people ask me about the different ages, right? And so how do you work differently from a kid in middle school to an adult? I was like, when you deal with athletes, it don't change that much. Because I can go to a middle school and be like, so you decided not to study for that test. Why do you do that? I don't know. Let's talk to a guy worth $100 million. So why do you have unprotected sex with that lady? And now you're at risk of losing half of what you've earned your whole career. It's all the same, right? It's just different degrees. Different degrees. That's all it is. That's all it is. That's all it is. That's all it is. So you just have to meet them where they are, regardless, right? And that's the thing. You meet people where they are, show them the strength, show them the weaknesses, and show them how to overcome these things. And that's what the program's about. And like I said, I love working with athletes, but going through what I went through, and then bringing me here, this is what. I want to ride into the sunset, helping people come back to balance. So that's it for me. Right.
If someone has already had surgery and they have like the artificial stuff in their knees, will that help?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Okay.
I'd have to look into that a little deeper, but yeah, I'm not sure. I can literally call some people and let you know.
Okay.
Yeah. You know somebody specific?
I know somebody specifically, and he's having problems again. It's been 15 years since he had that knee replacement or whatever, and so now he's having to go back again. So I was just wondering if that would be something that would help him without having to have another surgery.
Yeah. I'll definitely ask.
Yeah.
I'll definitely ask.
Okay.
Any questions, comments? All right. Well, I appreciate y'all's time. All right.
Thank you.
And pass it to me, sir.
All right. Let's say,
You my brother, man. Come on. Anywho, we're gonna switch things up a little because Priestess got something to do, so we should gonna talk now. So I'm gonna say this: like, since I've been in Georgia recently, linking up with her has helped me out tremendously in many ways because she opened my eyes to different things in which. I think what do you call it, the spiritual kung fu?
yeah, spiritual.
Yeah, because like growing up doing under different schools, African spirituality, dealing with Wapu, all these different schools, I learned a whole bunch of different things, and now I'm at the point now I'm realizing that they're all connected. By traveling the world and having that foundation, a spiritual foundation, you go to Haiti and you learn Haitian voodoo, and you're like, wait a minute, that's just like what I learned here. Ifa, same thing. It's all connected. You know what I'm saying? Right. All connected. And the better foundation you have, you're able to be able to appreciate that and connect things, and it makes it easier to learn and appreciate. So that's one of the things that one of the big things I want to talk about. What Priestess is going to talk about is just decoding your spiritual science, and yourself, and how it connects you to everything else, So go ahead, sis. You want to come on up?
All right. So, all right. The first thing I want to say, we as ancient people, we are the descendants of the ancient Sumerians, Babylonians, Phoenicians. We don't need religion. The age of religion is done. And this is all about stepping into your spiritual science. Now, one of the things of stepping into your spiritual science, it's critical to know your astrology, because this is why you're here. You were born under a certain month, under a certain day. Like I'm July 16th, 1967. I'm a Cancer, Moon in Scorpio, rising in Pisces or Aquarius, depending on who you. And I would recommend you do your Western and your Vedic numerology. What I love about this age, so many things can be done for free. We don't need, listen, no shade to anybody, but we don't need to go to Africa and get initiated in Ifa and sacrificing goats and chickens. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to go to Haiti. We can learn voodoo, but we don't need to tie an animal to a tree and sprinkle it with honey and put fire down its throat to tie it to a tree. Okay? Spirituality is very simple, but it's about cultivating your power. They put it in your face. Are you a firebender, waterbender, earthbender, airbender? Like the brother was saying, this is all about energy. We are all breathing this vast universe. This is the energy to tap into. We are all electromagnetic, energetic beings. We're walking. We got energy shooting out there we can't even see. But we need to protect ourselves. You know what I'm saying? I'm almost 60 years old, and I've had plenty of people try to come for me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but I stay protected. One of the things with us is copper and iron. And I'm just gonna just press on something right quick about copper, what it does. You know what I'm saying? Let me see, where is it here? Okay, the spiritual properties of copper. It protects, copper holds a significant amount of spiritual property. Okay, it conducts, energy, amplifies energy. It balances and harmonizes your chakras. It connects you to the physical and the spiritual, and it shields your electromagnetic field. You know what I'm saying? It's also responsible for emotional healing and enhances intuition and psychic ability. We are all psychic beings. It's just what level you are on. And when you tap into your numerology, like, okay, I'm 16. The number 1 deals with the energy of the sun. The number 6 deals with the energy of Venus. And number 7, you know what I'm saying? This is dealing with Saturn, even though, no shade to anybody else, but I'm just going to have to keep it real. Because, when we start reclaiming our power, here they come. Because remember, we were under the spell of Pisces for 2,000 years. Black women called the Sibyls wrote the Bible. And that has been plagiarized and hijacked. Can you imagine the fuckery? Pardon me, I'm Jamaican. Bless those who curse you. Love your enemies. Turn the other cheek. I wish motherfuckers would. You know what I'm saying? No, that's a bunch of fuckery. And so, you got to stay spiritually strapped, because they are coming for you. They're never going to stop. Right now, we got Neptune, Pluto, and what's the other one? Uranus. The ancients didn't use that. Saturn, Mars, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Sun, and Moon. You know what I'm saying? Now, when I do readings for people, I'll do the Neptune and the Uranus, but I'll let them know. Because this is something now that you're stepping into your power. Here they come with 3 new planets. We just discovered modern planets. How come the ancient Sumerians, Babylonian, and Egyptians that built Great Pyramid aligning with these, these different planets, didn't discover these planets? Here you come, the infant, only been here for 6,000 years and will be extinct in the next 200-300 years. You know what I'm saying? You discovering these modern planets, because now that you're stepping into your power, let's see if we can tap in. Because now that Saturn is in a planet for 2.5 years, now Neptune is somewhere for 16 years, trying to extend your reign. Because what we see now, it's collapsing, and what we have to do, the Egyptian called it Heka, which is life and death is in the power of the tongue. We have got to live in the present. The past is gone. We can plan for the future, but we might not see that. But live in the present. Don't get up in the mornings and the first thing is see what's going on the news. Like people with Puff Daddy is baby oil foolery or Donald Trump. How is that relevant to me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I see people driving in their cars on their phones. Are you kidding me? Are you that engrossed with social media?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like you have to invest because you are your greatest investment spiritually. Now, if you're a water sign, you need to be dealing with water energy. And all of us, we take a shower, speak affirmations in the shower. I am powerful. I am strong. You know what I'm saying? I am powerful. You know, you are an earth sign. You're dealing with, crystals. I have a bunch of crystals and they're different crystals. Black obsidian, black tourmaline. You can go online and look at the spiritual properties of black obsidian and black tourmaline. Because I once had a sister on the continent. She ripped off a cousin of mine. I contacted her and she was like, yo, how dare you even call me and ask me anything? I'm about to get the 72 voodoo priests and come for you. You, your children, your ancestors. I'm like, word, you want to smoke? You know what I'm saying? Because I got crazy ass Jamaican ancestors and she's dead now. You know what I'm saying? But I had to go to my ancestors. And even, I lived in Boston. I had folks burn down my apartment, all kind of stuff. And my ancestors, I can't smoke weed even though I'm Jamaican because all I hear is kill you white people. So I'm like, no, but you have to connect with your ancestors. Because you Black Americans, this is your land. You're the aboriginal native here. And this is your land. So when you walk on this, you know what I'm saying? You got to put your energy, because see, this system right here that's been in alignment with the infant, it's getting ready to crumble. And we don't have to suffer under that, because this monetary slavery never ended. It just got rebranded. It pisses me off when I go to McDonald's and see people working for $14 an hour. What can you do with that? Me and my youngest son, we went to Domino's the other day. I seen the brother. I'm like, you the only one up in here? Damn, how much y'all paying an hour? $10 an hour. No wonder. What you gonna do with that in Georgia? And so once we start, when it says your Heka, when you start to speak out that I speak, healing. I speak financial wealth and ability, for us as a people. It will manifest. When it says where 1 and 2 of you are gathered, there I am also. That's why it says 144,000. We don't need the 8 billion because the 8 billion ain't gonna wake up. But if we got 144,000, you know what I'm saying? That are tapped in. Where 1 and 2 of you are gathered, there I am. The energy. It take 3 of us that can shift the energy of this entire mall. Just going outside is, I call it shamalama ding dong. You know what I'm saying? We don't need to do no big rituals. You are the ritual, because guess what? We're a battery that is plugged into this universe. Look, you see all of this? And I got, I ain't put on no lotion today. Yeah, all this copper. So it protects me, my electromagnetic field. So when I'm walking out, you know what I'm saying? The brass, these are our energies that our ancestors wore, a piece of iron. This is Ogun. You know what I'm saying? Because, this is just what it is. People will try to come for you. And it's like, I'm already shielded. You see my uncle? I'm already shielded. And this is what it is. Because these stones have been in Mother Earth's womb for millions of years. So when you take one of these stones, and you can get them on Etsy, you can get them on eBay, you know what I'm saying? There's one of these stones that I'm wearing. It's called Numite. It's 3 billion years old. 3 billion. And it has so much properties of protection and shield, because what you want to do, with our metal, our number one metal is copper, is shield your electromagnetic field. Because like one scientist said, if you could see what you're breathing in, you wouldn't even want to breathe. Everything is being done to lower our vibrations, to kill us. You know what I'm saying? You can't kill us because we're the original. We're the first that's been here. The first gods, but also the first devils. You know what I'm saying? And so you will always have your Cain and Abel, you know, your Set and your Osiris. That's just what it is. But you, as the Osiris, got to make sure you're protecting yourself. And see what's going to happen. This is a planet of matriarchy. And it was the men, you know, who overthrew the matriarchy, going back to Tiamat with Enki and Enlil. Well, now the matriarchy is going to come back in alignment. Because who's fucking up the planet? Who's waging all the wars, the gangs, the cartels? Look at the Rwandan massacre, the Hutus versus the Tutsis. That was almost 1 million black folks. How am I going to look at you, a black American, and I'm Jamaican, like, I'm better than you. 2 cats sitting there, black cat, white cat. I'm better than you. But you change you a cat? It's ridiculous. And as children of Mother Earth, and the earth is changing. Right now, we're in a 5D frequency. How many people have been feeling this? The frequency on this planet changed in 2022. It went from 3D to 5D. And this is a higher, you know, spiritual frequency. We're moving away from fear. You will always have fear and stuff. But this system, it focuses on, it's a vampiric system that feeds on your energy to keep you in fear. Oh my God, what's the government gonna do? Oh, what's this and the celebrity? Who cares? You gotta stay. You get up first thing in the morning, take a few deep breaths, and just connect with your higher self. Feel you. Get centered before you begin your day. Anything that doesn't concern you, leave it alone. What do you care about Puff Daddy and his Baby Oil Chronicles? You wasn't in there getting rubbed down with baby oil. What do you care? You know what I'm saying? What do you care about Beyonce and Jay-Z? It's ridiculous. And this is where, in this day and age, this is the age of Aquarius, whose ruler is Saturn. And I love Saturn. I pinch my motherfucking nipples for Saturn. Because, you know, Saturn is the mother planet. That's the crone mother. And they cannot come to Saturn with no fuckery. Because they did that under the age of Pisces. That's how they use religion and keep us under a spell. It was called gospel, a ghost spell. Religion, rely on a lie to lead legions. Now the age of Aquarius is power to the people. This is where we reclaim our power, our spiritual power. But Aquarius is ruled by Saturn. Now, they don't want to deal with Saturn, so here they come with Uranus. Ain't no such planet. It's Saturn. Because, see, let me tell you something with Saturn. You can't come to Saturn with no fuckery. You know what I'm saying? Because this is an older, ancient planet. And there are things that you can get for free. There is an app that I have. It's called Planetary Times. Right now, we're in Jupiter time. And Jupiter, wisdom, advice, consultation, optimism. You can go on Google Play Store and get Planetary Times. And it will give you each of the planets. Let's click on Saturn. Keywords: discipline, patience, overcoming obstacle, repair, training, hard work, responsibility, ancestors, age, maturity, hierarchy, foundation. It even ruled over slavery. Because, you know, slavery began with us. You know, we had Africans selling Africans into slavery. That's how Jamaicans ended up in Jamaica, and Haitians and stuff. You all, like Americans, y'all was already here. You had a couple that came over, but y'all was already here. We've been all over the world. They've taken all of our stuff. Yahshua's skin like burnt bronze, hair like lamb's wool, and voice like rumbling water. So, you know, he had a sexy ass Barry White voice. You got this blonde haired, blue eyed dude that you praying to. Your prayers aren't going nowhere. And we were doing that for thousands of years. Who you praying to? You know what I'm saying? Now you know who these people were. All of these things that were taken and whitewashed. Now we're reclaiming ours. It ain't nothing that we're not racist, but you have to reclaim your sovereignty. And this is where the age of Aquarius comes in. But they're afraid of Saturn because they know Saturn rules over karma. Saturn rules over spiritual maturity. I tell people, listen, if you ain't ready to reclaim your full spiritual power and to walk in that thing, don't even come in my direction. Because Saturn is maturity and Saturn is our mother planet. All of these other planets, the sun, you know what I'm saying? Mercury is how you speak. When you do your natal chart, your Jupiter is your spiritual gifts. Your Mercury is how you speak. If you speak with like fire, like Jamaican says, spit hot fire, you speak with water. Your Mars is your spiritual protection. What you working with? Let's just say you got Mars in Libra. This is my art to bust hoes down. You know what I'm saying? What is your Venus? Your Venus is your love and your creativity. You know what I'm saying? And this is you, your numerology. Are you a number 1? Are you a number 2? Are you a number 3? And all of those numbers is connected to an elemental energy. That is your first power that you step into. But you're your greatest investment. You got to decode you. And it starts with your astrology and your numerology. And when you pair that up, also the day you're born, if you're born on a Sunday, it's Archangel Michael. Let me see. Hathor, you got my book there? The angelic book? Okay. Give me that. See, this is what they look like. They done put Caucasian images on all of this. And I'm not a racist, but I'm just saying, we're taking back our shit. This is what they look like. When I saw this brother's book, I said, oh shit, because I know when I have invoked them and they came to me like this. 90% of them are female, 10% are male. Some got big ass bushy afro, some got dreadlocks. You know what I'm saying? And when you tap in, you're born on a Sunday, it's Archangel Michael. Monday, Archangel Gabriel. Tuesday is Chamuel. Wednesday, you know what I'm saying? I forgot what that one is. Thursday, Metatron. Friday, Uriel. Saturday, Cassiel. These are real live beings. They ain't no fairy tales. And these are beings that you can invoke. Archangel Michael, I invoke your divine wisdom, your divine frequency. Even my spiritual name, Auset Ra Amen. I was meditating, and the Egyptian goddess Auset came to me, stuck her hand in my forehead, and said, your name is Auset Ra Amen. And I was like, oh shit, that's some wild shit. And when I did the numerology, it lined up with my life path. You know what I'm saying? And this is what it is. You can meditate and tap in and get your message. I tell everybody, get you an oracle deck. Whichever one you want, to go on Amazon, see which one make you pinch your nipples. Get one and you smoke it out with some Palo Santo. And then you sleep with it for 30 days so it picks up your electromagnetic energy. So that when you go to shuffle it, and all you do is you just ask, Great Mother Source, what's the message for me right now? What do I need to know right now? You just pull one card. Whatever that card is, that's the message for you. We are spiritual beings. The answers is all around us, but we just got to tap in. And now that we're in the age of Aquarius, it's power to the people. It's time for us to regain our spiritual sovereignty. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And once you tap in, that's it. You know? Am I still up here?
You good?
Yeah, once you tap in. So this is what it is. And you don't need, like, I did a reading for a brother the other day. His ass wanted to go somewhere to go join an ashram. Negro, why you want to move to another country to go join an ashram? To go sit under some guru. You are the guru. When people come and they pinch you, oh my God, Priestess Auset. No, you're a priestess. You're a priest. You understand? And it's up to you now. Once you decode your spiritual science and put it together, you walk out this bitch like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I get up every single day. You know? Because now that I've reclaimed my power, I don't need anybody to lead me. I have my ancestors that did the big ritual. All I got to do is just say the word. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. Like I said, I had a woman that threatened me. And I'm getting ready to get the 72 voodoo priest. And I was like, oh, you want to smoke? And all I did, as a matter of fact, I wasn't even going to bust her down. I was busting somebody down with my Solomon keys, and she ran across my mind. I was like, yo, F her, she can catch his hands and drop that. Well, guess who dropped that? Life and death is truly in the power of the tongue. That's why the Egyptians say the heck, and this is why they are so terrified of us now. Because when we start calling, this system has to collapse. It pisses me off, like I said, when I go to McDonald's, and I know people are like, damn, can she get off your tip? But you can afford to pay those people the minimum, $25 an hour. These are multi-billion-dollar conglomerates that make money. People go in morning, noon, and night and eat. And what you doing with $14 an hour? Slavery never ended. It just got rebranded. You see the little cheap-ass houses they building up with those cheap-ass wood, with the cheap-ass sidings? It probably cost them $3,000 to build one, and they want you to take out a $300,000 loan. That house is not even going to last for 5 years, because when the rain and the inclement weather sets in and you're breathing in the wood, it's going to be the cheap wood that's going to start to disintegrate. It's going to be like microfiber that you're breathing in, microplastic. And sure enough, I did a reading for a white man. He got a house that was built in 2000. In 2006, him and his wife had black mold of the lungs. These are the cheap-ass homes that they are building up, and they want people to take out a slave-ass $300,000 mortgage when that house ain't even worth $5,000. And why are we doing it? It's time now for us to step in. We can say a prayer for the collective, because I throw shade on their ass all the time. Great Mother Saturn, please bust these hoes down. It's time for their end. You know what I'm saying? Because their time is here. And we, as the battery, because we're the original on this planet, the first people placed on this planet was a black woman. She is the mother of all. This is our planet. You know what I'm saying? The trees got spirit in it. Everything around you vibrates at a frequency, even if you can't see it. And you are always tapped into that. And once you realize this power, what's your sign, Goddess?
Capricorn.
All right, hey, Saturn. You know what I'm saying?
I would speak.
Yes. And Saturn is the crone mother that rules over karma, life, death, rebirth, transformation, money. Saturn, you're supposed to have your own business. You know what I'm saying? Saturn is the high priest. You know what I'm saying? And even though they call it like an earth sign because she rules over banking and financing, it's an air type, gas type energy. And the age of Aquarius is all about air and water. This is speech. Your speech, you have so much power. When you realize how much power you have, you're going to be walking out this bitch like, yo, what's up? You know what I'm saying? And I'm almost 60 years old. I'm in my second Saturn return. And when I woke up in 2022, I was like, oh, shit. The frequency on this planet changed. I'm constantly pinching my, like, oh, this. You know what it said? When it says a new heaven and a new earth, it is. While everything looks the same, it's not the same. And this is now time for you to step into your power. You got to understand, yeah, you're a human being and stuff, but you're not a regular human being. You have so much power, and you ain't got to do no big things. No shade to our sisters and brothers on the continent, but you don't need to be sacrificing no damn goats and chickens. You know what I'm saying? Your words are your power. Your hand gestures are your power. Your thoughts are your power. You just need to make sure that the thoughts in your mind are not poisoning your body. It don't mean you'll never get angry and stuff, but you can't stay in that frequency, that negative frequency, because it lowers your vibrational frequency. You know what I'm saying? And this is what it is. You take your spiritual bath. They got on Amazon, you can get some Florida water bath soap. You know what I'm saying? Get you a spiritual bath once a week, because you going out here, you tapping into energy. Every now and then put a little teaspoon of baking soda in some water. I would recommend you do that when you're not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Because you might have an accident. You go out in public. You know what I'm saying? And it cleanses you out. It cleans out your system. We ain't got to do no big rituals and this. Listen, everything we need is right here. You are a battery that is plugged into this cosmic realm, this ancestral, cosmic, universal, spiritual, earthly realm. We're plugged into all of this. We are a battery. And once you realize that and you walk in that power, you know what I'm saying? And when you are truly highly vibrational, spiritual, you don't have an ego. You're not arrogant. You understand? Because this is what it is. All you're doing is reclaiming your power. And you will have the power to effect change in your life. You want to manifest the house. Now, don't get me wrong. It's going to take time, but you got to line up with that energy. You can't manifest in the house if you're vibrating on the spirit of poverty or lack. You know what I'm saying? You got to align up. If your credit is raggedy, you're going to have to clean it up. You know what I'm saying? But you have the ability to manifest whatever you desire. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and that's it. And that's it. So that's it.
That's it. That's it again. We're going to take a 10-minute break. You know what I'm saying? You got, there's a food vendor out there, and there's different vendors out. Check it out. But we'll be back 10. And you coming next, right, good brother? Okay. All right. Give us about 10 minutes. We'll be back with you. All right.
Back again. That's right. Just in case you didn't know, I'm Melissa Lewis. I'm over Reiki Services, which is also sponsoring this as well. So Zoser and I have been partnering on a lot of different events. So we're happy to see that everybody's here, and we're trying to make sure that the community continues to get fed by so many wonderful, phenomenal speakers. So one very important person to me is Mr. Ronnie, who's going to be the next speaker coming up. An excellent mental health therapist, spiritual guide, all of the above. So come on up. Let's start. All right.
Melissa, thank you all for attending. Thank you, Reiki Services. So I am a mental health counselor. All right. When I say that, I wonder what that might feel like to other people. So I want to ask, and I would love it if people would be willing to tell me when I say I'm a therapist or a counselor, what happens? What do you feel? Anybody?
Help.
You feel help? That's what you said? Oh, that's great. That's great. Anybody else? If we were to talk one-on-one, how would you feel? You'd be okay? All right. Sometimes people feel like they're going to be judged. They feel like they're into a space where somebody's going to size them up and tell me what's wrong with me. They're going to do that. And I think that kind of creates a space that pushes people away from opening up. All right. So one thing I want to say about me is I live between the worlds of like mental health and spirituality. And so the discussion I want to have with you all today is about our spiritual experiences. And when they show up, how do we process that? How do we talk about that with other people? Now, who here has had a spiritual experience before that they can recognize? I see one hand, I see another. I think probably everybody in here, all right? When that happened, did you feel like you knew who you could talk to about that? It's okay for anybody to comment, you know? A lot of times there's nobody to talk about those things with, all right? And so I'm going to share about maybe three quick stories, just to bring out a point, and kind of why I do what I do, why I try to, as a therapist, open space for people who are having spiritual experiences, who are either awakening or have been awakened and are now going through certain things, and how to distinguish that, say, from a mental health crisis. All right? And sometimes there's a blend, you know? Most of when we think back about people who we call shamans and healers, they often had some kind of, sometimes a psychotic break, what we would call a psychotic break, or what the Western world might call that. And that opened them up to have a different kind of awareness, which the village benefited from. Right? And then we call that person a healer. They see things, they hear things. So one story, this story is my story. And I had an experience, man, I've had so many, but I'm gonna try to drop one out. I had an experience where it was December of 2003. I was sitting in a car waiting for my girlfriend at the time. And it was raining, and I kind of just allowed that rain to put me in like a light meditative space. I'm sitting just relaxing, waiting on her to pull up. And I get this flash of a vision where I see someone, a woman in a car, moving in slow motion. I'm seeing an accident scene where I'm inside the car, in the backseat of the car. And I'm watching it like I'm there, but I'm not affected by it. And I'm seeing all white light on the outside of the car. And on the inside, I can see glass moving, like in a slow motion movie. I see the woman in the front thrusting forward and crashing. And then I'm taken out of that experience. Me and my girlfriend at the time had a long conversation because I thought it was going to be her. I said, look, you need to be careful, you know, tomorrow, because I just had this experience. I don't know what's going on back there. I just had this experience, and I don't know what to do, you know. And we had this conversation about fate. If you know something is going to happen, what can we do? It's a long conversation. The next day I'm at work. I was a teacher at the time. My brother-in-law worked with me. And he came into my office and he said, Tandy, my sister, has been in an accident. And that experience was very powerful because she passed. Not only did she pass, but my nephew passed with her. All right? Now, I share that it's been 20 years, so there's a lot of healing work has been done. But I like to use my story as I want to encourage you to use your story for resilience, for hope, for spiritual insight. As I was on the way, we left and we were going to meet at my brother-in-law's mother's house. And I leave work and I get on the 20 and I'm praying and I'm hoping and I'm trying to speed but not too fast so I don't get in an accident. And something says, well, if she's been in an accident, why are we going to his mother's house? And of course it hits me that she's passed and that's where we're going to meet. But I remember praying and trying to ask God to make sure she's okay, make sure this happens. And then when you realize, then it hits me that whatever I was praying against has already happened. So then I switched my prayer. And my prayer was, well, give me the strength to deal with this. Right? This is kind of why I'm bringing this to say, like, our spirituality is not only for our beliefs, you know, in the afterlife. It's to be used today. And so as a therapist, what I try to do is extract meaning from our stories and help us to integrate our spirituality, whether it be prayer, whether it be meditation, whether it be ritual, whether it be deciphering dreams, into the healing process. And so as a therapist, sometimes our clients, I've had many clients say, hey, I don't want to sound crazy, but this happened. And we all have experiences that don't fit nicely into that pocket of Western understanding. You know, there's things we experience that we get foreknowledge of. How did I end up having that vision? I don't know. I can't control that. You know, there's some people that's what they do. They express that they can see things. I've tried. It don't work quite as so that happened. I didn't do that. Right. So that was very. That's a fundamental experience in my life. Right. Meaning that changed me. It also changed the way I relate to spirit, by how I relate to myself and to how I relate to clients. You know, I was not a therapist at the time, but I knew one most important thing is the power of time. We don't have as much as we think. All right? So as we journey to be better versions of ourselves, to heal, know that, let me pause for a second. Do you remember the show Spencer for Hire? Remember that old show? If y'all old, you got gray, you probably know. All right, Spencer for Hire. I forget the name of the main actor there. But when he was dying of cancer, he said he just wanted to learn how to die with grace. And I think about that because I do a lot of grief work. I do a lot of work with people who are terminally ill, who are dealing with the reality. And so questions about spirituality have a place in that discussion. So when you're choosing a therapist, when you're going through things, I want you to make sure that this is a person who has not been so Westernly trained that they have extracted all the soul out of them, that they can hear you without judgment. So having a spiritually competent therapist would be someone who can allow you to share that without going to what we call the DSM, diagnostic manual, and then say, oh, this person's having hallucinations. And they're having, what else? The hallucination, paranoia, they're having derealization, psychotic, all these kinds of things. Yeah, disassociative. You have a question?
Why do you think people today are so programmed against natural phenomena?
Against natural phenomena?
Or what you call spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that was not the case 200 years ago? That was the only phenomenon.
Yes.
And so why do you think modern people, especially people in our community, are programmed so deeply against it?
Mm-hmm. I think that that's a realm that this culture is not attuned to. They don't have, you know, as they say, if you can label it, you can measure it. And if you can measure it, you can control it. And this is a realm you cannot control. And I think the Western model has one, especially within our field, there's what we call the behavioralists. The behavioralists want to even move away from the idea of thoughts. They just want to focus on behavior. They don't even want to discuss the inner experience that people have. So there's a way of what they can manage and what they can control. It is a problem of the Western mind more than it is a problem of our understanding. Meaning, just like when we talk about medicine for women, when health providers, I'm gonna make the connection. When health providers, when a woman goes in for OBGYN or whatever, even the setup is for the doctor, not for the woman. And so even in mental health, the setup is for me to learn how to measure you, to put you in a box that I can control. I need to label you. So that is the intention. A lot of time, that's the undercurrent of the reasoning for why they take that approach. And spirit is one of those aspects of life, because even the term psyche has a word that it comes from words related to spirit, but they've moved away from that. So just to stay on tack, and we'll definitely be open to talking more. The main thing that I want you all to be able to do is advocate for yourself when you have experiences. Sometimes it may not pay to tell a psychiatrist or a psychologist some of these things, and not to just plug mental health counselors, but my primary thing is not to diagnose you. My primary thing is to come into a healing relationship with you that can move you from one space to the next. The idea of labeling is very oppressive in my mind. And sometimes words are weapons.
Right.
Because if I call you a name and we agree on what that name might mean, or if I associate you with something, such as calling a human being an illegal, what does that set you up for? If a human being is an illegal, then that person, we are collectively being primed to do away with them, to mistreat them, right? So this is the reason for like words matter. And as a therapist, we engage in sometimes when a person is suffering, sometimes their suffering comes from the language of how they're processing, what we call processing their thoughts. When they say, you know, I'm a loser, this kind of thing. Like where does these concepts come? Like who's winning and who's losing? These are words that is put out there and then people associate themselves with. So part of my message, or a major part of my message, is that I want us to reclaim our internal life and to allow for you to find therapists that are sensitive to these topics, maybe even have their own. I'm not here to proselytize my spiritual beliefs. I'm here to allow you to share what you feel, think, and have experienced, and I, like a DJ, mix it into your healing plan.
That's right.
All right? So, one other story that don't have to do with me, and then I'll close. And if I have time, I can ask you a question. Okay. It was a young man I was working with who had what we call schizophrenia. He was very cool. I liked him instantly. He was from Miami. I grew up in Miami, so we connected, very easily. And he would, for the most part, he couldn't get his life together because he would have these psychotic breaks where he said since he was a little boy, he would see another little boy that would influence him to do things. And I said, so I would say, why does he have so much influence? He just like, he hounds him. He wouldn't go away. And he was saying to me that there was one time he was getting ready for church. He was fixing his tie and he saw the little boy in the mirror and he got stuck. Can you imagine being stuck looking in the mirror for an hour and you don't the time falls away, right? So he had disappeared. He would just disappear sometimes. And so I showed up at the home and I was talking to his mom. Mind you, he was probably 25 at this point. And I showed up at the home and something in my spirit said, ask mom if he was one of a twin. And so I asked her and she said yes, but he doesn't know that. And that twin died. He was the surviving twin. And in our traditions, we know that sometimes when you come with some people want to bring you back with them, right? But in the Western thought process, what we call, that there's no room for that. There's no room for these ideas of where spirit is interacting with people as they go. And so I said to her, so I kind of turned the therapeutic focus to her. I said, well, did you mourn him? And she was like, not really, I just had to move on, right? I said, would it be possible for you to do something special for that child that didn't make it? Like maybe do something to honor that child. And she said, sure. And so we kind of developed somewhat of a little ritual just to say, thank you for coming, and move on. Now, I don't have much more to report from there, meaning my work with him, because he disappeared. He never came back home. But it was one of those things that made me say, okay, this therapy thing is broader than the conversation between you and I in the session. There is a lot more at play. I heard a term recently that might make sense in terms of how I view it. They say, when you think that it's all in your head, you're right. It's just that your head is a lot bigger than you think. And so this interplay, this interrelationship between human beings, ancestors, nature, all of these things is a part of that bigger story that we need to be able to somehow, in some way, integrate into our field of awareness and be able to do things to help work towards healing. Because healing is not just about one person. This concept of individualized healing is kind of preposterous. It's kind of like cleansing one part of a pool. You know, we exist in a toxic environment. So to heal one person in a toxic environment, they just get toxic again. You know, we live in a very negating culture. By negating, I mean that it's the denial of spirit. It's the denial of human. We say things like, what you in your feelings? As an insult. We're all in our feelings. That's how we relate to the world, is through our feelings. So when we negate that and say, like, you should deny that you feel mad, sad, scared, then you're robbing that human being of their humanity. And we play games, like we call it professionalism. It's like when you show up to work, like, it's not about your feelings, you gotta, and because we accept these terms, we are subjecting ourselves to a toxic soup or a toxic pool that we're swimming in, and we show up to a therapist with anxiety and depression and don't know why. Because you don't have 10,000 followers, you feel like you're nothing. And so you're saying, I just thought I would be more successful at this point in my life. You're saying that to your therapist. And who put that there? Who put those shoulds, those famous shoulds? I should have had this. I should have did. I should have. We should be able to. Y'all hear that in yourselves? Some of that has been planted there, right? So it's alienation, self-alienation. So at any rate, I'm going to close with, when you are going through things, and especially on the matter of spiritual, ask the therapist, are you comfortable with processing these things? Are you comfortable talking about these concepts? Are they able to talk about spiritual concepts without going to their religion? Does this person have enough awareness of what, for many of us, especially in our community, reincarnation is not just some random thing. It's like, no, that's grandma. Y'all with me with that? In your family, you feel like this is a return of someone. So, at any rate, I'm here to support you. This is a main part of my work, as not just as a therapist, but also as a priest, as a shaman, as a healer. I work in many different spiritual systems, been trained in different systems, and I integrate that in the tradition into the healing process, but I also like to draw out what is meaningful for you. All right, any questions before I close?
You have a card?
I don't have a card. I ran out of cards before I came, but I can make sure I provide my phone number. My phone number is 770-744. Okay. 770-744-5721. All right, cool. And yes.
I know you're not diagnosing, but how do you know when you're dealing with someone that's truly in a mental illness as opposed to a spiritual situation?
So,
or is it the same?
Yes. So for it, yes, this is. I always forget to self-plug. Okay,
She got you.
I appreciate you, Stacia. All right, so I am an author. My book is Self-Rule: Reclaiming Your Inner Light, Life, and Sovereign Self. All right. So, yes, I would need to finish it. That question. So that's a very tricky question, and I'm not going to act like I know that completely. But what I can say is, usually when something has a spiritual component, there is a certain growth that is happening for that person. Sometimes the person will understand that embedded meaning. I know this is kind of hard to kind of convey it very simply, but like there are certain things that show up in your life. We call them synchronicities, you know, certain events. There are certain things that you know you're supposed to be doing and you haven't been doing it. And then these events come into your life and make you do it. And so sometimes you know it in retrospect, to be honest, because the reason why I say that is because there is certain experiences that are beyond rational explanation, you know? So I want to, I'm gonna leave it there. Do you have a question?
Yeah, do you think as far as technology and the things of cell phones and that such AI and all that kind of stuff, do you think it's become more of a hindrance to the human being's psyche or a help?
I definitely could see places. The first answer is yes, I do think it's a hindrance. One is that even in like socializing, we're all in our phones. We're not connecting. We can see it in our children. Children are having a harder time connecting, and you know, they can be in a room with kids their own age, and they'll be in there for an hour, and you say, "Did you talk to anybody?" It was like, "No, not really." That never used to happen. They would all automatically, "Hey, I got a new friend."
Right.
Right. So it is encroaching. It's also encroaching on the algorithms are reshaping a lot. I mean, I don't even know if we're going to be able to fully know the ramifications of that. The algorithms of technology is presenting information. So if you have an affinity to something, the computer serves it back up to you every time you log on. And you thinking that it's serendipity. You thinking it's just, oh, here go another video proving my point. And if that point is negative, the point that you've been proving, like, you know, I hate our people, right? Our people are always up to something, and then the algorithm keeps feeding you that, then guess what? It's starting to shape your core belief. And so you can see how that's happening. It can also reshape even how you feel about yourself. You know, if every time you log on, you see people who got rippling abs and stuff like that, and they, you know what I'm saying, you look down and you're like, yeah, I need to get on that, right? And it gets reinforced. It gets reinforced, or the last point is that we don't have as much control of the information is there. That's the new meeting space. That's the town square now is online, but things don't even flow in the more organic way that that like a town square would. So who just gets up and says, "Hey, I just had salmon and Brussels sprouts this morning." Like, you care, right? I just want you to know, bro. That's what I had for Facebook. What did you eat? It was So the point is that information is shared in a different kind of way, and there's also what I've seen, purposeful dysregulation, I should say. Things that either heighten fear, things that heighten self-doubt. Look at the world of relationships, and the conversations online make you feel like, you know what, I'd rather not, right? And so we're distancing. And so one of the fundamental things about our ancestral ways of healing is that healing is not viewed through this individualized lens of the individual. It's viewed from the lens of the village, the family. And so we are not these little, it's like one blade of grass. You know what I'm saying? That's what we are. Like, we're just an individual blade of grass. But though it is important, you are important. But if we view healing only from that vantage point, then nothing really gets healed. You are not the way you are only because of you. Some of this is coming down your ancestral line. Even your personality, you think you're unique, right? Talk to your grandfather or your grandma, or about their brothers, and say, it's like, oh, I'm not the first entrepreneur, or I wasn't the first one who had an anger problem, or I'm not the first person who was spiritual. There's many people in your lineage that have done these things before. So at any rate, I know we're short on time, but I just want to inspire you to, acknowledge your spiritual experiences and extract from them the meaning that allows you to go forward with resilience. This is your story, and you are the one that is able to provide the meaning of what that experience meant for you. All right? So I'm going to leave it there.
I definitely want to say, a lot of times we have bad stigma about mental health. And as therapists, and I am a therapist, and I have a therapist. This is my therapist. So I don't look at anything as bad or stigma, because we have to be helped. I get a lot of people that come to me. So where do I go? So always look at mental health and therapists as spiritual, and I am also a spiritual therapist, as people who can really help you grow. And I always say, this is your therapeutic journey. So thank you. I appreciate you.
So, like I said earlier in the book, if you haven't get up already, please, it's right there. It's only $10. By code. That's the first book. Embracing the Cycles of Non-Lethal Being. I talk about my first chapter. It's called Pig Brains and Eggs. And the reason, again, I'm gonna say this again, is because I didn't realize in this journey how important health was, right? Until, like I said earlier, I got arthritis in my hips and other things. But then I've learned from Dr. Africa, Dr. Sabi, and Tabuti Madra, and other individuals how important health is. And one of the key people that assisted me in the health journey was my chiropractor. Okay, and after I learned my chiropractor, what information he gave me, I never ever. It was very rare I went to real doctors. One time I was in a martial arts tournament, and I won the tournament, but I got hit, real bad, concussion. So I went back to training thinking everything was okay. Sat down, my hand was going like this. I was like, dang, because I never had that sensation before. I went to my chiropractor, and he's like, you got a concussion. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, well, but almost anything I came to him with, he's like, you got this, you got to eat this, you got this. I'm just like, man, I don't got to go nowhere else. So anywho, one of the most important things in health is wealth. You know what I'm saying? And this man right here, I'm bringing up there, Dr. Kenya. You know what I'm saying? He is a wealth of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And I just love to sit back and listen. I was sitting there and we did our podcast. I raised my hand like I was a 5-year-old. Okay, I got a question. Another question. But Dr. Kenya, come on up, man. And, did you even
I can.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, I think this is important.
You got my back right. Oh, got my back right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my back right.
Exactly. Insurance on the paper. Yeah. They don't want to, but that's just aspect of the world. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Aspect of the world. That's what I'm saying. Anything they say, I don't believe it. I run out of power. Oh, you got it. Oh, yeah.
How's everybody doing today? Great. All right. So we work out these technical kinks. I want to first and foremost acknowledge our ancestors, right? I said all of us stand on the shoulders of our ancestors. If we were to only just go back 7 generations, I said we're looking at over 384 individuals that went into the making of you. And so just looking at 7 generations, if we were to take it back 14 generations, I said we're talking about over 32,000 people that went into just the making of you. We're not even talking about siblings, aunties, cousins, that type of thing. And so just from understanding how much power goes into just the making of an individual. And so whether, sometimes we have to take the mundane and expand it, but then sometimes we have to take the spiritual and bring it down. And so if we're talking about just our two parents, well, that's two individuals. None of us made ourselves. And so the same thing when it comes to healing, sometimes we have to interact with other individuals in order to make it happen. And that's where kind of the chiropractor fits in, right? From a chiropractic standpoint, well, let me take a step back. One of the things that separates chiropractic from some of the other healthcare modalities is that chiropractors start with the premise that the body has a natural ability to heal itself. We can all agree with that, right?
Right.
If we were to cut ourselves or have some type of injury, we know whether we did something or not, the body has that natural healing ability. And so as a chiropractor, knowing that is where we start with, knowing that it is not the chiropractor that's doing the healing, but I am working with the healing properties of the body. And so when you do that, now I'm able to remove myself from the process and know in a way I'm a vessel, right? That I'm actually helping the person's body to do what it already naturally does. And so in our office, we take a holistic approach to health. From a chiropractic standpoint, we work from the outside in terms of aligning the spine so that the body expresses itself better. If we were to think about the nerves as being like electrical wires, if we have kinks in those wires, then I said we have glitches, right? And so if we were talking about a glitch in terms of the nerves coming out of the neck, we start to have tension in the neck and shoulders. We can have numbness, tingling, burning sensations down into the arms. So much so that we would feel it down into the hands. You would go to your primary care physician, and they would tell you that you got carpal tunnel, right? Or they would tell you, oh, you got impingement in the shoulder and the elbow. But sometimes if we take it back to the source, in terms of the nervous system, having that alignment of the spine, we're able to reduce some of those things that we actually feel. Let's see here. I had a presentation put together, but I wanted to flow a little bit different instead of being as buttoned up as I look with the tie on, right? Loosen it up a little bit. And so again, that's all right. It says no signal. We're gonna keep it moving. So we take a holistic approach. So the chiropractic aspect of it is working from the outside in, making sure that the spine is in alignment so that the nervous system can express itself. Then we also take an inside out approach, and that is where the supplements come in. This is where we reconnect to earth in order to replenish the body. We've all heard the phrase in terms of from earth we come and earth we return, ash to ash, dust to dust. And so as we're going through our daily activities, we're constantly burning through nutrients and we have to replenish those nutrients. Now, one of the challenges is living here where we live is that not only is the food depleted of nutrients, but then also we have to deal with the aspects of toxins, right? And in order for the body to expel those toxins, it has to use up more of the nutrients and resources, and the body constantly becomes depleted. When the body starts to become depleted, the body isn't operating orderly, the body isn't operating with ease, and so we end up with dis-ease, we end up with disorders. Make sense? And so now when we're talking about the body operating orderly, now we can understand where the chiropractic aspect comes in, we understand where the supplementation aspect comes in. Now, I wasn't always a big advocate when it came to supplementation, because one thing that I knew is that when people took supplements that they bought in the store, it came right back out, right? Whether in the urine or in the feces. One of the things I later found out is that, well, part of the reason that the supplements didn't work to the way that they were supposed to is because they weren't natural, right? They didn't actually come from a earthbound source. And because it didn't come from an earthbound source, we weren't able to replenish this earthly or this physical body. And so when we get back to actually utilizing the earth in order to replenish this earthly body, now we can actually get back to how our ancestors actually kept the body moving so that we could actually go through this journey that we call life. And so I thought a little bit about the theme in terms of embracing the sun cycle, and that the sun can be a symbol, but it can also be a metaphor in terms of individuals, but it can also be a metaphor that we use in terms of understanding life. And so if you ever seen any of like the pictures or the depictions of like the Egyptian picture of the sun, you would see that it had multiple rays, and those rays would have hands coming out of it. And some of those reliefs, you would actually see the symbol of life or the Ankh. And so one of the things that our ancestors did in terms of symbols and representations is one of the ways that they were able to communicate information to us. It was almost as if they knew that we may not be speaking the same tongue, but we can all understand symbology, right? We can all understand in terms of writing, right? In terms of letters, those are symbols also, right? And so it was almost as if, how do I communicate this to our offspring generations down the line? How am I to communicate this deep knowledge in terms of how we understand the connections between the human being, in terms of the spiritual aspect, the physical aspect? How do we do that? And so when we looked at those pictures in terms of the rays, they were communicating that there's a connection between us as human beings and the sun. And so we actually even have references in terms of religious and spiritual references throughout, like the Christian Bibles. There are references to the sun, right? There's even a play on the word sun, right? S-U-N and then S-O-N. And so we can think of it and we can take it literal, we can take it figurative, right? They're talking about some other individual, or it's telling stories in order for us to have an understanding of who and what we are, right? Even in the Christian Bible, there's passages where Jesus even says that the things that I do, you can do and more. So there's references throughout that is almost operating as a guide in a sense to let us know that we are a lot more powerful than we have been told that we are. And in order to harness that power, one of the things that we have to do is that we have to take care of this physical frame. That is one of our responsibilities as we go through life, right? And so as a chiropractor, that's one of the things that I attempt to do in terms of helping people to remember in terms of taking care of the physical frame. The last thing you want to do is that we've been appointed a certain amount of time on this plane, and then the vehicle that we're using starts to break down before we get to our destination. So if we were to imagine that we're supposed to be here 80 or 100 years or 200 years, we get to the 40-year mark, and then that vehicle starts to break down, what do you do? Because it isn't like you get to trade it in for the 2025 model, right? There you go. And we are very clear, if we've already entered into the healthcare system, that the medication doesn't necessarily repair that vehicle. And so because of that, we have to understand that in order to replenish the body, we have to go back to the earth in order to give the body the things that it needs, right? So we talked about the replenishing the body in terms of how do we actually even consume the sun. That was going to be another thing I got into, but I wanted to make sure I left enough time for us to have some dialogue and I'm not just talking. So how do we actually even consume the sun, right? Well, one way that we do is we do it indirectly, to where the sun goes and it contacts grass or other vegetation. Animals eat it, we eat the animals, right? Another way is we can do it directly, where the sun contacts vegetation, the vegetation grows, we eat the vegetation. So that's our fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, right? But another way that we can do it, and this is the way that we do it with our supplements, is that we take that vegetation in a concentrated form. One of the things that most people probably remember is that your grandmothers or great-grandmothers, anytime that you got sick, one of the things that they would do is they would go out in the backyard, they would go out into the woods, they would pull what we call weeds now, but they knew that different types of vegetation had certain constituents, certain chemicals in it, that when they actually made a tea, made a tonic, that when you took that thing, again, replenishing the body with earth, that they were able to change the course and take the body from disorder to order, right? Or take the body from dis-ease to ease. Now, usually we use that term when we're talking about it in the extreme sense, right? In terms of dis-ease or disorder, but we're talking about that we are not operating in terms of being orderly or being balanced. And before we get to the extreme, there are tons of things that we can do in terms of taking control of our health and keeping ourselves balanced. And so, a dietary standpoint, we can actually replenish the body, right? One of the things that we have learned or will learn soon is that we can't necessarily trust other people in order to feed you, right? A lot of the toxins that enter into the body comes by way of the foods that we have. Like, there are people fighting tooth and nail in order to not list certain things on food. Something as simple as labeling whether something is organic or something is genetically modified. There's a huge fight that you cannot necessarily label something genetically modified because they said that the assumption is that it's different or less than the other thing. But we're very clear now, if we look at some of the current research, that some of the genetically modified stuff is less than. Because once you start to change the DNA of vegetation or animals, you literally start to change not only from a physical standpoint, but then even an energetic standpoint. Something as simple as a watermelon without seeds, if a watermelon cannot reproduce itself, can it help you reproduce yourself? And so just from a consumption standpoint, we have to be very mindful. And what we'll have to do is kind of take a step back. We're living in modern times, but we're going to probably have to take a step back and say, how did our grandparents do it? How did our great-grandparents do this thing in terms of consumption? One of the things that they did is what we call farmers markets now, but people used to barter, where you may have someone that was growing peas and corns, somebody else was growing another two things, and they bartered. Well, they removed the monetary aspect, but everybody was able to get what they needed and be able to sustain communities. And so whether you have 5 acres, whether you got a back patio, some of those things we're going to have to get back to. Now, when we're talking about people of African descent, especially on this continent, farming, gardening, it's a disconnect because our history tells us that's something that has a very negative connotation to it. But if you look at it, there's a reason why people were taken from specifically West Africa and brought here, because there was a skill set there. There was a connection there. If you look at all the categories in terms of all things that are bad, you'll see that people of African descent are at the top. And then if you look at everything in terms of things that are good, we are at the bottom. Some of that is the disconnect in terms of just our consumption alone. I said we are eating things that are not conducive or in alignment with the physical body. And so with our supplements, one of the things that we're doing is to actually get the body back online. Because if we're giving the body the nutrients it needs, and by nutrients, we're talking about not only vitamins, because we got tons of multivitamins on the shelf, right? Because if it was just vitamins, the 12 vitamins that we need, we would all be okay. But then there are minerals and trace minerals that we should be getting, and most of the disorders and diseases that happen to the body are from depletion of minerals. There's the phytominerals. I said there's several other chemical constituents that are in plants that you can reproduce it if you wanted to. And so us, getting back to eating from the earth, but then also we're actually growing those things from the earth ourselves instead of allowing some big factory farm to do it for us. Because at that point, how do you tell them that you don't want pesticides or you don't want certain chemicals sprayed on the ground? Because whatever goes into the ground, when you consume those foods out of it, guess what? It's in us. Whatever antibiotics that are in the animals. When it goes into the animals, we consume the animals, now it goes into us. And so we're talking about a depletion of the nutrients, but then we're also talking about toxins that have entered into the body. And so a lot of what we have to do is that in order for us to have a change in terms of our health, we also have to have a change in consciousness. That we can't do the standard of what everybody else is doing and think that we're going to get something different than what everyone else is getting. Like you'll even notice that we have people who are mindful about their diet, they're vegetarian, vegan, but they still get some of the common ailments. And so the question is, well, how is it if they're not eating animal products, how is it that we're still getting these issues? Well, not only is it in terms of the toxic load, but then also a carrot isn't a carrot anymore. A tomato isn't a tomato anymore because the soil is depleted, right? One of the ways that we actually get those nutrients is that the soil has to be rich. If the soil is depleted, no matter what it is that you do, even if you don't spray any of those chemicals, we won't be able to get those nutrients. And so a supplement, meaning something that helps us, is one of the things that we do, is that we supplement our diet, we supplement our lifestyle in order to get ourselves back together. You'll notice is that one of the things that people notice is when they start getting the nutrients into the body is 1, that you sleep better, 2, energy levels go up, 3, your brain and nervous system is more clear, so now you're making better decisions. And so something as simple as just our consumption in terms of the foods that we take in and that supplementation, now if we have to make a decision between different things, we're thinking with more of a clear mind. And so this is also a way that we can actually take the mundane and actually even raise it up to where now we can start to talk about spiritual things. One of the things that used to bother me is that people of African descent are some of the most spiritual people that you'll meet. I said, you'll meet black people. We're probably the only people that are saying, man, something told me though. I don't know, something told me I need to. And so if we know that we've got that type of connection to where something tells you to do or don't do, how is it that we're missing the connection on some of the mundane, the everyday, the behavioral things? And some of that has to do with that the body is misaligned. We have disorder, meaning the body isn't operating orderly. And we also have where the body isn't moving in terms of ease. And so, again, doing simple things consistently in terms of like some of our behavior patterns. And we're not talking about a full overhaul. You're like, you know what? I'm going to get this gym membership. I'm going 8 days out the week. I'm switching over my diet. I'm throwing everything out of the refrigerator, everything out of the freezer. I'm going down to the farmer's market. I'm getting everything fresh. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about making gradual, small changes. So something as simple as making sure that I am drinking quality water on a regular basis. By quality water, not necessarily talking about tap water unless you have certain filters that are removing the chlorine, fluoride from the water. Or if we're talking about maybe spring water. Doing something in terms of 2 to 3 times throughout the day, making sure we're drinking at least 8 ounces. I'm not talking about carrying around a jug of water, chugging it, because that actually is the opposite of what you really want to do. I'm going to pivot for a second because we just had a conversation in office about hydration in terms of keeping the body right. So the body is almost every process in the body operates off of water. I said we can't have the hormones that we have. I said the muscles won't operate properly. None of the body systems in the body will operate properly without water. And so what happens is that most people are walking around with what's referred to as subclinical dehydration. Subclinical meaning that it's not dehydration to the point to where you pass out or, you feeling nauseated or, you feeling, flush. We're talking subclinical, whereas the body knows that, hey, we're at critical levels in terms of the amount of water we have in the body. Then the body starts to ration out water. So if the body starts to ration out water in terms of the nervous system, literally the spine sits in cerebral spinal fluid. It starts to pull water from the cerebral spinal fluids. We start to have headaches and migraines. We don't have headaches and migraines because we're lacking goody powders or anything else, right? If the body starts to ration out water and it starts to pull the moisture from the blood, which is also made up almost 3/4 of water, the blood is thicker, the heart has to pump, blood pressure goes up. You don't have high blood pressure because you're lacking blood pressure medication, right? If the body starts to ration out water in terms of the digestive system and it starts to pull it, stool gets more solid, we start to have constipation. So we don't necessarily need a stool softener or whatever else. It's one of those things, something as simple as actually consuming quality water. You can see that it has not just specific effects in terms of, oh, my skin looks better, but we see it affects all the systems in the body. And so the same thing happens in terms of other small changes. So making sure that we're staying hydrated, making sure that we are moving the body. The body is made for movement. I said being sedentary, not moving. What you're communicating to the nervous system is that I do not need these muscles. I do not need this body to be strong. What I do need is I needed to sit on this sofa all day. And the body says, no problem. We know that so much so is if somebody were to break their arm, they put a cast on it, they're not using it, what happens? They get atrophy, the muscles shrink, right? Because we are not using it. Don't use it, you lose it. And so we got to move the body. A lot of the aches and pains, it almost seems counterintuitive when we're talking about arthritis or anything else, but one of the first things you got to do is you have to move the body. Crossing all the joints, we have tendons that connect to those muscles. We make those muscles stronger, helps to provide structure for those joints, and all of a sudden, those joints are a lot less achy. We're moving a little bit better because, one, the body is stronger, but two, we've actually provided a little bit more structure and order to those joints. So something as simple as taking a 30, 45-minute walk every day, again, helps the body from a structural standpoint. Something as simple as walking 30 to 45 minutes a day increases the heart rate. So as the heart rate goes up, it's pumping, the blood is flowing through the lymphatic vessels, so the body's actually cleansing the blood. Not only that, inside of those lymphatic nodes, they're like sensors where it lets the body know, like, hey, we've got something in here that should not be in here. It activates the immune system. So that's where the white blood cells come in. That's where the body knows, all right, hey, we've got something in the blood that is not beneficial, and that's where the body takes care of it. All of this is happening without us knowing. So we're going back to that healing properties of the body. As we do that, the immune system functions better when we're actually exercising. One of the things that happens is that the body temperature heats up. The immune system works better when the body heats up, but all the pathogens, the bacteria, the viruses do not like the body heated up. We know that. Why? It's because anytime we quote unquote get sick, get a fever. So we've been told the fever is bad, but that is the body's divine systems actually doing exactly what it's supposed to do. And so if we're constantly doing that on a regular basis, then we're actually helping the body along. Because like I said, if we're supposed to be here 100, 200 years, and this thing start breaking down on us at 40 years, we're in trouble. So that means we got another 10, 20, 30, 40 years of being in a vehicle that is not working properly. Anybody ever had their car break down on them? That is a helpless feeling, right? You're on the side of the road, or the car is sitting there, you want to get somewhere in terms of a destination, but you can't get there. And so if we think about the body as a vehicle that's transporting the soul, we want to keep this thing going. We want this 1970, 1982 model, whatever year we was born, we want it to be moving as the best that it possibly could, so that we do accomplish whatever our destination or whatever our destiny is at this time that we're on this earth, right? Now that I've went on 2 tangents, I have lost my place. There we go. Internal sons. There we go. And I'm going to pause after this so that way we can actually have some Q&A real quick before I wrap up. So internal sons. And so different spiritual systems, different cultures actually, again, use the sun as a metaphor and also a representation of individuals and to actually explain life and death. Internally, before I got to chiropractic, I actually got into Asian body work, and so a large percentage of my framework of understanding how the body works is that way. And so one of the things that they talked about is that the dantians. Anybody ever heard of it before? It's literally the 3 suns in the body, where it talks about we have an upper dantian, a middle dantian, and a lower. So we basically have 3 suns. Those 3 suns represent not only the spiritual, the emotional, but then also the physical aspect of the person. One of the ways that we can actually balance it out, and we're talking specifically from an earth standpoint, is that in order to balance out the upper dantian, we can actually use mushrooms. Anybody familiar with mushrooms and understanding how mushrooms can alter and enhance consciousness? And so you literally would have priests or people who were knowledgeable and understand the constituents of the mushrooms, and they didn't do it just recreational, but they knew that if you create a ritual space, that when you utilize those mushrooms, you expand consciousness, and you can actually help people to understand why they are here, specifically at this time, but then also how do they go about accomplishing their destiny. For the middle dantian, which is connected to the emotional centers, you can actually use essential oils. Now, we have been told that essential oils are all about aromatherapy, right? How it smells. And that is a very important aspect, because the sense of smell that's connected to the olfactory nerve it's actually one of the few nerves that don't have to go through different brain centers. It goes directly to the brain, and so it connects to memory, that type of thing. But essential oils also, in terms of whether we apply it neat or topically, or if we actually ingest it, are able to help in terms of resetting the software and helping to reset emotions. So if we've had emotional trauma, that type of thing, like the good brother was talking about, like mental health, that is one of those things in terms of the sense of smell. I've had people talk about, like, when they go back in terms of re-experiencing certain things, they can even remember something burning on the stove, something as simple as what it smelled like, or somebody's cologne literally can take them back to a certain space because how connected it is in terms of the olfactory nerve. And then when we get to the lower dantian, that is connected to our vegetation in terms of what we call herbs. Now, when we're talking about herbs, we're talking about the different special herbs, but we're also talking about the stuff that we cook with. I actually challenged somebody this week. I told them that nobody likes light potatoes, and nobody would like meat if we didn't season.
Right?
If you don't believe me, go take some chicken. Don't put no seasoning on it. Bite into it, and you tell me that you like chicken. If you don't believe me, go get a white potato. Or if you've ever been somewhere and you got some French fries and they didn't put no salt on it, you tell me that you like white potatoes without the seasoning on it. Again, we're taking the plants, dehydrating it, so now it is concentrated. Now when they powder it, you sprinkle it on, and that is what we like. We like the plants. We like that vegetation. And so when we get to the herbs, that's basically what we do with our herbs. Like I mentioned before, your grandmothers, your great-grandmothers will go out, they will make a tea and tonic. Well, here, people don't like bitters, and so what we do is we take those same herbs, we dehydrate them, put them in a capsule, so they're in concentrated form, and so now, instead of you having to drink 5 cups, you can take 2 or 3 of those capsules, and you're getting the same effects from when you're actually taking those teas and tonics. So again, putting that plant material into the body. In order to replenish this physical body that comes from the earth, we have to go back to the earth in order to replenish it. And so I'll pause there, and then if we have any quick questions, I'll say we'll do a little Q&A, and then we'll wrap up.
I just wanted to ask you a question too. What's your take on the purified water versus the spring water?
Okay, so water is a huge topic. Purified water. So one of the things that happened is that you had like these machines that came over from different countries, like Korea, China, where we had like the alkaline water. Well, soon as industry saw that people were attempting to do better and they wanted the alkaline water, well, what they did is they started bottling it. Well, when we're talking about pH or potential hydrogen, all you have to do is we can take some tap water, we can put baking soda on it, it changes the pH. So we know it's got to be more than just it being alkaline, right? When we're talking about purified water, we're basically talking about tap water. I said, and they're using a number of different processes to remove some of the constituents, but most of the constituents that we need removed, like the fluoride, absolutely positively should be removed. Most of the machines don't remove it. Most of the purified water does not remove it. In terms of spring water, so spring water is more natural. If we had to choose, that's what I would go with the spring water. So with spring water, if you can imagine, you've got mountains, ice-capped mountain peaks. The water melts, it goes down through the mountains, goes through rocks, coal, it's being filtered through there. Whether it's a stream, whether you have earth, it's being filtered through there. So by the time it gets to whatever stream, lake, pond that you actually receive it from, not only has it been purified because it's come through the rocks, and it's emulated in a lot of the filtration systems. If you actually look, they're using charcoal and different things to filter the water through. But you'll also see that it has small amounts of different minerals in it. Like some of the healthiest cultures, when you look at like the blue zone, anyone here familiar with blue zones? So blue zones are some of the areas throughout the world where people live the longest. And so they've done all kinds of studies trying to figure out the magic formula. Like, what do they do? Is it a vegetarian diet? Is it this? Or is it that? One of the things they found out is that, one, almost none of them eat completely a carnivore diet. None of them completely eat like a vegan diet. They eat primarily plant-based. They eat small amount of meat. And then there's other factors like social connection, all other kinds of stuff. Healthy culture, that's basically what it is that actually makes them healthy. But spring water, that is your best bet. Because and even looking at the companies and seeing where they actually source it will actually help. And that's you can go online and do the research on that. But ideally spring water. I said, if you can, even filtering the water that comes into your house to where it removes fluoride, removes the chlorine. They even have different other filters that remove some of the pathogens from the water. But you'll notice just doing that little bit, you'll see the change in terms of your skin because we remove those things, especially like the chlorine, like removing chlorine from the water. When you take a nice hot shower, that chlorine in the water turns into vapors, you are inhaling it. Anybody ever looked up what happens when chlorine is in the body? Yeah, I said you might want to just, again, Google it. Look up, what does it look like when you have high levels of chlorine in the body? If you even look up, like, what is it called when you have high levels of fluoride in the body? They even put it in our toothpaste, right? So much so that it has a poison center label on it with the skull and an X on it and tells you if you swallow, call the poison control. So how is that something that's in your toothpaste beneficial to you? you'll start to see in the next 10 to 20 years that there's actually even a connection between the fluoride that's in our water, in our toothpaste, and some of the other products, the connection to the thyroid, a lot of thyroid dysfunction that people are having. Because from a periodic table standpoint, molecules are very similar. I said it attaches to the receptor sites that like the iodine and other things are supposed to attach to, and it causes a disruption in the endocrine system. But to answer your question, I know I gave you a long answer. But to answer your question, spring water.
Spring water.
And I think the sister back there had a hand up.
If you could name like 2 or 3 supplements that you feel like everyone should be having in their home.
You just gave me that. So Dr. Elber's Simple Temple Supplements. So one of the things that I recommend to almost all of my patients, because I know all of us are deficient in certain nutrients, is we have what's called simple greens. And we make the process extremely simple. You take 2 capsules a day. You can take it with or without food. Again, within 3 to 4 days, one of the things that you notice is energy levels go up, sleep better, and then you'll even start to see other things change. Simple Temple.
Is that different than chlorophyll, or that's the same thing?
That is it. So in the Simple Temple, I said that you actually get chlorophyll.
Oh.
We have plant material, we have mushroom material, but then we also have like some algae material. So like chlorophyll, spirulina. So that way you are getting that chlorophyll aspect of it.
And Simple Temple is the exact name of the
And
supplement.
this is Dr. Edwards Simple Temple. There's a room right over here with a whole bunch sitting on the table.
Oh,
We have a whole conversation.
Okay.
But again, I said chlorophyll is extremely good. I don't like the way it tastes, to be honest with you. That is an acquired taste and you got to get used to it. But again, if you want to take it that way, I said again, good quality water source is good with the chlorophyll. But again, plant material. I said the body is made from earth. In order to replenish it, we have to go back to the earth. Any other questions before we wrap up?
I have one. Hi.
Hey there.
Yes, so my mother is 87 years old and she just recently had a heart attack. Do you think that she would benefit from chiropractic work?
Yes, ma'am. So with chiropractic care, chiropractic care isn't focusing on in terms of curing anything, but again, we mentioned before that it's about removing interference from the spine so that the nervous system can express itself better. And so the nerves that not only go to the eyes, go to the neck, but also go to the heart, we want to make sure we remove that interference so that it functions better. And now from the inside out, we take the supplements to give the body what it needs in order for it to cleanse itself so that the heart can work properly.
Can you explain how chiropractic isn't just about adjusting bones and physically moving them, but there's other techniques that can be applied for someone that is 86 years old, instrumentation that still helps regulate the nervous system?
So good question. So old school, well, let me take a step back. When it comes to chiropractic, if you were to watch it, it looks like we're cracking bones, right? You hear the noise, you see the twisting of the neck. That's what we see on the outside. But really what it is, it's about connecting to the nervous system, right? I said if the spine is aligned, it takes tension off the nerves, the body's able to express itself better. And so it's all about the nervous system. We see the movement of the bones, but that is only in order to make sure that the spine is in alignment, the joints all over the body are in alignment, because chiropractors adjust more than just the spine. So if somebody has a shoulder injury, an elbow injury, and so you have the manual technique to where the traditional technique where you see them with the neck and the back, but then there's also instrumentation. There's also some more energetic techniques that chiropractors use to where sometimes it's very soft touch on different parts of the body. Understanding where the energy centers are along the spine, you're able to contact those spaces on the spine, and you help the body to be able to adjust itself. And so I hope I'm answering your question in terms of there are multiple different techniques in terms of helping the body to better express itself. But yeah, it isn't just the traditional cracking of the neck or the cracking and popping. I'll say one more thing about that. A lot of that noise that you hear isn't actually the bones. It's actually gas being released from the joints. And it's kind of like if you're frying and you got the grease heats up and you hear the cracking and the popping noises. Well, very similar. When you open up that joint space, gas is released and you hear a crisp sound. And because it's crisp, it sounds like it's the bones, but it is not.
just some lady said that I was seeing a chiropractor and I used to just be scared, like, oh my God, he's gonna kill me, he's gonna break my neck. I used to hate to hear that noise.
As a profession, we definitely got to do a better job of letting people know that we are not cracking bones, that it is as being, Chiropractic is actually probably one of the safest professions that doctors that you can actually go to. Let me tell you how I know and how you would know. In terms of malpractice insurance, chiropractors pay the least in malpractice insurance. So if we were out here hurting, causing strokes, all of that stuff, it'd probably be a lot higher, right? And so that's who you talk to. The insurance companies keep data on everything. That's the reason why if you have like a young male that's between like 16 to 25, their insurance is the highest because they know young males do dumb stuff, right? And they know that we're going to be out racing all kinds of stuff. And so if anybody has a son and try to get them on their insurance, they know the rates are extremely high. And so the same thing when it comes to chiropractic, they know that chiropractors do not hurt people. You heard the horror stories of breaking necks, people having strokes. And if that was the case, the malpractice insurance would be way more than it is. Yeah, some of that, now I'm getting long-winded because you opened a whole bag of worms for that question. So some of that actually comes from marketing from the AMA. Anybody familiar with AMA? Yes. American Medical Association. Yeah. Does anybody know that chiropractic profession had to sue the AMA for defamation? Yeah. To where a lot of terms like quacks, that chiropractors call strokes, a lot of that came from a concerted effort of them actually trying to keep people from going to chiropractors. Because if you imagine, you go back 50, 100 years, you've got farmers, instead of them driving 100, miles to go down to this doctor that's trying to get his stuff together, they go 20 miles this way, they go to the chiropractor, he gets them to alignment, they go back home and they're taking care of their family. Who's losing money in that? And so it was a very concerted effort, and you still see that in terms of some medical doctors still, never been to a chiropractor, never talked to them, but they've got these thoughts and these feelings about chiropractic and don't know why. Did I answer your question? All right, there we go. I definitely appreciate you guys giving me your time and attention. I'll be in the back. Go ahead.
One quick question. Most of us probably in here have seen a chiropractor before, but we also have, I guess, Western traditional doctors. So do you if someone's on a medication for cholesterol, do you adjust those medications or take patients off of those also? Or you're doing that?
So good question. So as a chiropractor, chiropractors do not prescribe pharmaceuticals. And so I do not tell my patients to get off, do this, but what I do is provide information, right? Because most of the times, I tell you what, go look up cholesterol medication. 1, look up side effects. Yeah. 2, look up is there any information to even say that they're actually effective?
Okay. I was just wondering if you adjust those medications also or take people off those.
I do not, but I will give you tons of information for you to make an informed decision.
How to get off of it.
Okay. Very much so. Okay. So going back to one of our original points of that when the body is deficient in certain nutrients, it cannot operate the way it's supposed to. So imagine that you're trying to rebuild it. How you're trying to build up a house, right? You don't have enough nails, you don't have enough wood, you don't have enough paint. What do you do?
Call somebody.
So you got to make sure you got the raw materials in order to do the job. And if you don't, you start to see signs of not having the raw materials over a period of time. And so high blood pressure, diabetes, all of that is the body not operating orderly.
Okay. I have one more thing back to the water. You said 8 ounces of water. People tell you need to drink a gallon of water a day and stuff like that.
Okay. So when we're talking about water, we are talking about hydration, right? Every aspect, every organ system in the body uses water. Like if we were to be able to reach in and grab the heart and we were to extract all the water out, you'll see that even the organs are made up mostly of water. So let's think about it like this. So I'm gonna give you a roundabout answer. So say if I were to take some collard greens, right? We're in the South. I take those collard greens, I put it into a blender, I hit the button, and it churns it up. It's going to be mostly what? Water. Right. So that means when we eat those collard greens, not only do we get the nutrients, but we also get the water. The body can only process foods in a liquid source, and so that's one part of the reason when you start chewing, we have the saliva. It has to break it down into a liquid source. So when it gets to the gut, it absorbs through the gut, and that's how we get the nutrients, right? So collard greens. So let's see, watermelon. We eat that, primarily water. So that means the collard greens are putting moisture or hydration into the body. The watermelon's putting moisture and hydration into the body. Now, one of my favorites, 10-piece with fries. Here we go. We're in the South, so here we go. I love some hot wings. What is it? Spicy honey garlic. That's probably one of my favorites. So we take there you go, Thai chili. So we take those wings. When we're eating it, is it putting moisture into the body, or does it have to take moisture from the body in order to break it down into a liquid? So that may be one of the things that if we were eating something like wings every single day, it is dehydrating the body instead of hydrating the body. Then we got the fries that go with it, right? That's been loaded with seasoning salt. And so in order to break down those potatoes, is it putting moisture into the body, or is it going to have to take moisture from the body to break it down? So it's bigger than just saying, oh, I'm just going to drink gallons and gallons of water. That's why we talked about the dietary aspect and we talked about the supplemental aspect of it, right? So now I said when we start talking about eating more of a plant-based diet, now we're very clear that when I'm eating the collard greens, I'm eating the squash, I'm eating the zucchini, that is actually putting moisture into the body as I'm eating it, along with all the nutrients that the body needs in order to rebuild itself.
Okay.
One of the reasons that I say 8 ounces, if you've ever poured water into a plant, if you were to pour a whole bottle into it, all the water comes out the bottom shortly after, right? Because we didn't give it enough time and it was too much at one time. However, if we would take a little bit, or 8 ounces, we pour it in there, it's a little bit and the soil is able to absorb it. So the same thing with the body. If you drink a little bit at a time, you give the body enough time for it to actually absorb the water. You're not running to the bathroom 5 minutes later.
Well, that's the first I've ever heard anything like that.
Sorry,
but that's good.
It's more where that came
from.
But very little water at a time. And it's more so about the foods. That'll get you there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging on. We got 2 more speakers, and I would say I think some of us earlier were talking about how many of y'all know what's going on like Burkina Faso and the Sahel nations and everything. Have y'all heard about that? Ibrahim Traore and that stuff. Talk about the sun cycle. It's not all astrological. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not all about the sun. It's all about a transfer. You know what I'm saying? From old ways to new ways. You know, and sometimes that takes revolution, right? Sometimes that means you got to fight, right? Sometimes that means you got to take your power back. You got to do it by any means necessary. You know what I'm saying? So, as long as I've been in Atlanta, Georgia, and started doing music in my early 20s, I met a brother that was always about that, as far as informing the people about this transition. You know, I don't care from the small level to get people out of jail, you know, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? All this stuff is fine and well, but we got to realize that this transition, it is going to be a fight. You know, they're coming. You know what I'm saying? Because they know who we are. You know what I'm saying? And they know where we're going and we're going to be. So, in saying all that, I want to let Brother Kalonji come up and speak.
Okay.
I always give respect to the people that are really about it. So,
gratitude to our brother. That's the creative God in my heart, God in my tongue. Seek refuge in the creator, misleading and being misled, betraying and being betrayed into the trial. First and foremost, always appreciate your energy, brother, because as long as I've known you, you've been consistent. And the one thing we know that when it comes to not only our people, but people, period, is a lot of inconsistency, right? And that's pretty much why we're in the space that we're in right now. But I appreciate you, and I think we should all give this brother love and make sure that we support his work. Also would like to give my respect to the 2 brothers that I was able to check out. Came in a little late, but their spirits were on point. Beautiful spirits, you know. And it's always good when you can get fed, when you can get food, when you can get spiritual food, you can get mental food. You know what I'm saying? You can get physical food, and I think that's what has been demonstrated here today. Now I promise you, some of the things I say, some folks aren't going to dig it. They're not going to dig it because of the fact that, you know, when we're talking about war, sometimes we want to dance our way around it. We want to sweet talk our way out of it. We want to smooth our way out of it. But war, as Malcolm said, is about bloodshed. And what does that mean? Am I coming in like I'm Tough Tony? Like I'm Magilla Gorilla and we going to talk about grab some arms and let's bug out? No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm simply saying that, unfortunately, oftentimes we follow what the ruling class has to say and we mimic the ruling class. And so we want to oftentimes impress our masters. I'm on point, I speak well. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to dance well for you. I'm going to talk the King's English the way you want me to speak it. You understand what I'm saying? My job is not to make other people feel good about themselves. It's not my role. And what does that mean? Does that mean that I hate someone? No. Che Guevara said revolution is an act of love. And it's because of the fact that we love each other that we're out here on this stormy day. And that some of us travel hours and change just to get here. You know what I mean? The fact that you all had the wherewithal, the strength, the tenacity, and the audacity to get up and make a concerted effort to come here today on this beautiful Saturday, this sunny Saturday. You had the audacity to come here. You could have been anywhere. Right. This is Atlanta, Georgia. There's always something going on. But you decided that you wanted to come here and you wanted to learn. And I think that's why we're all here today. That is the one thing that we all have in common. And if anyone here came to do anything other than to learn, then perhaps you're in the wrong space. Sometimes we get so used to hearing ourselves talk and we want to be heard, and we want to entertain, and we want to look good. And as the brother spoke about earlier, we talk about social media and all that. We live in this virtual reality. And so we've been had artificial intelligence. AI is not a new thing. The way we move is artificial. The foods we eat, the nonsense we accept. The brother talked about GMOs and he talked about seedless watermelons. We got some seedless watermelons walking around here today. They try to convince you that I'm not a watermelon. I feel like I'm a peach. And psychologically, we jump in there and we get in that bag and we say, okay. And if we don't agree with it, then we're insulting someone. Right. I don't have to agree with you to love you. I don't have to hate you because I disagree with you. But I will not lie to you. I'm not playing that game. That's a psychological, we're at war. And war is a psychological thing as well as a physical and spiritual thing. Right? Now, before anybody get the bright idea to say, oh, he's this, he's that, that's on you. However you feel, what you eat don't make me use the bathroom. However, I'm not going to dance when I don't feel like dancing. I'm not going to smile when I don't feel like I'm happy. But that is what the state teaches you to do. Malcolm talked about Novocaine. He said, before they shoot Novocaine in your mouth, you want to fight the dentist. But once they shoot that Novocaine up in you, it feels good. You don't even know that you're getting, right. You're going to leave like, came in with 32 teeth, you might leave with 2 or 3. One in your mouth and 2 in your pocket. But you're cool because you ain't feeling. That's what's going on right now. We've been dealing with this war on a whole nother level, on so many levels. The food we eat, our intake, because again, our diet is not just what we're putting in our mouths. It's what we're putting between our ears. Everybody all right? Yeah. When we talk about we're at war, because see the thing is, again, you know, we come from a space where everything's performative. Like the brother said, everybody got to get online, you got to tell them what you have for dinner, who house you over, where you at, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? You know, who you saw, what you had on, what the cat next to you breath smelled like. A whole bunch of nonsense. Neely Fuller, one of our recent ancestors.
Yes, sir.
He spoke about the 9 areas of people activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. These are primary things that are used against us in daily life. And so, since we have become so accustomed to being brainwashed and misled, the things that are right appear to be wrong, the things that are wrong appear to be right now. I remember being in school back in the day. I'll be 55 this year. I've been organizing. This is my 40th year organizing. 40. Okay? My oldest child will be 36 next Friday. The organization I started, the FTP movement, will be 21 years old on Monday, June 9th. As the OGs say, I ain't new to this, I'm true to this.
Right.
I look like I'm wet behind the ears, but I've been out here. And I'm saying this to you because sometimes we need context, right? Because there's been days that I might appear younger than I am. And so folks like, who do you think he's talking to? I'm talking to you. Because that's who the state's talking to. That's who the state is misleading. Now, what do I mean by the state? I'm not talking about, look, you know, again, because of the fact that we get so used to slick sound bites. We get so used to fly sounding words and all of this. But at the end of the day, the reality is either we live or we die. It's the bottom line. We live or we die. I want you to do something, because I'm looking at some beautiful people today. I want you to turn to your neighbor and say, I'm grateful that you're alive.
I'm grateful.
That's something simple. Isn't it a beautiful thing that they're alive?
Yes, sir.
Clap your hands, be happy the people next to you are alive. We are here. We made it. We made it. Many of our ancestors suffered. And look at us. We here today. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Man, listen, y'all ain't got to agree with me. I'm good. I'm happy to be here. And I am happy that you're here. It's an act of love that Shane talked about. So let's talk about that love. Let's talk about that love. Because see, oftentimes, man, we live in a fantasy world. Right? I hear people talk about, you know, black people just put all their money together. We can do this and we can do that. That's bullshit. There are 23 black billionaires in the world today. 23. Did you hear what I said? 23 black billionaires on the planet here today. Combined wealth of $96 billion. Is anybody listening?
Sir.
How much did I say? 23 billionaires, 23 black billionaires? Huh?
96.
It's 3,029 or 3,329, I believe, billionaires altogether. 23 of those are black. The combined wealth is how much did I just say? 96 billion. Elon Musk, how much money does he have? They tell you all the time. 400 billion, somewhere around there. Jeff Bezos, another 200-something billion. Mark Zuckerberg, another 200-something billion. What am I saying here? One of these crackers can buy all of these Negroes, can put all their money together. I said 96 billion combined. And I'm telling you that one man has $400 billion. So if he gave all of them the money that they have, he'll still have over $300 billion. That's one man.
Right, right.
Are y'all listening to me?
Yes, sir.
So what are we talking about? If we put our money together, we can do this and we can do that. You think that's what's gonna win a war? No. It's a foolish notion. It's confusing. We're confused into thinking that we actually think it. we actually think we thinking. And that's supposed to be a solution. When you don't have any solutions, you say anything and people just looking for whatever comes along. Listen, how do we move forward? Because right now, we have some bumbling idiots that are quote unquote running this country or running the planet. And still inside of our minds and in our spirits, we're still looking to other people for our survival. It's 2025.
Right.
What has been done to assist us? Who has saved us? As Harriet Tubman would say, no one's going to save us but us. Now, some of y'all, when I said the word cracker, y'all start sinking in your seats. I see a good white brother over there. I'm not talking about him. I said a cracker. I'm talking about you cracking the whip. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not, but I'm not going to change my tone because anyone else is here, because this is how I talk.
Right.
He's not going to change his tone for me.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm not picking on you. I'm just saying, like, look.
I'm thinking about myself.
Yeah, well, you know, whatever's clever. Be men, be women.
Yeah.
It is 2025. This is the 100-year centennial of Marcus Garvey going into Atlanta Federal Penitentiary. 100 years ago, Marcus Garvey was going into Atlanta Federal Penitentiary, and he said, a reporter mocked him. The reporter said, "Listen, Mr. Garvey, they got you now. What you gonna do?" Garvey said, "You may have the lion in the cage, but I left many cubs in the bush." Now that same year, if y'all think Garvey was playing, that's the year that Frantz Fanon was born. That's the year that Medgar Evers was born. That's the year that Patrice Lumumba was born. If y'all don't know them names, look it up.
Yeah.
But it was also the year that our shining black prince, El Hajj Malik Shabazz, Malcolm X, was born. So those were the cubs that he left in the bush. Now here we are, 100 years later. It's 2025. And my brother mentioned Burkina Faso, and he mentioned Ibrahim Traore. And you have folks over in South Africa, like Julius Malema. These are revolutionaries. These are revolutionaries. You and I, we have to ask ourselves, every chance we get, what are we doing for our people? That should be a question that you should pose to yourself daily. What have I done for my people? Remember that song, "What Have You Done For Me?" Lately, y'all know the song.
Right, right.
But we gotta do more than dance.
Right.
It's more than a song and a dance. Love and respect to y'all. I just came here today to greet you and to remind you that we are the beautiful people that we are, and that we will win in spite of ourselves. We're gonna go through a whole lot to get to where we need to go. But again, we look back at folks like Mama Harriet and we say, man, she walked these roads that we see along these highways. You understand what I'm saying? These highways didn't exist. We think about what Nina Simone talked about, the blood on the roots and the leaves and whatnot. This is where we are. This is where we are. Listen, I know the speaker's coming up. I appreciate the invitation. My name is Kalonji Changa. Online, who we talking to on Instagram. I know y'all not surprised at that. We have a platform called Black Power Media. I implore you all to check it out. There's a couple new books that just dropped. One is called Beyond Cop City, and the other one is called Revolution in These Times. I appreciate y'all. Love and appreciation. Keep on winning. And if you don't feel like you winning, just keep fighting like hell until you do.
That's it. Thank y'all again for sticking around on this stormy, beautiful Saturday.
And we
Like you
still
said.
have food there. We got to still have food.
Oh yeah.
But and they moved, I'm just saying that they moved over there. So if you still
Okay.
hungry, they're still over there, and wonderful juices are still available too.
Also, please check out all the different vendors before you leave.
Please,
of course,
yes,
you have to pick my book. It's only $10. It's right there. Now, my next book, I'm gonna talk about my healing process, because you know we've all been doing a lot of things in life, just being melanated individuals, right? Now, recently I went to Brazil and did a ceremony, ayahuasca ceremony, and it was very informative for numerous reasons, specifically dealing with for healing, okay? And on there, I met some sisters that were. You always think that you're connected to nature because you go in the woods and all that stuff. You always have connected to nature, but then you meet people that are a little bit more connected than you are that can show you how to be more connected. And the sister here that's about to walk on is one of these individuals. You know what I'm saying? I've known her for a while, like most of the other these people, everybody else here, and it is so important because the things that we've been through in our lives to heal. You know what I mean? To heal. Just like the brother said earlier. It's healing is so. It's not a bad thing. It's a great thing. It's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? I sat in this room literally on one of these tables with Master Yao doing Tantra, and some things happened to me that I never thought could possibly ever happen from healing, from Tantra. You know what I'm saying? So healing is a very important thing. There's so many different ways from our African indigenous way to do things to heal and get you to, to get you past that past trauma. You know what I'm saying? So Goddess Diamond is the one next speaking, and I think she's ready. She's setting for the camera, but you ready? Okay. All right.
Discovering.
Hey, hello everyone. My name is Diamond. That's my real name. You can also call me Goddess Diamond. And I'm so grateful to be here with everyone, sharing space with you all. I'm going to, well, initially I was going to get up and talk about the ancestors, but they said, why don't you just connect them? So I said, all right, well, let's do it. So I have been connecting people to their guides and their ancestors for quite some time now. I have mentorships, things of the sort. And actually, this meditation that I'm going to take you on is such a powerful journey. It's actually really popular on YouTube. And it's going to lead you to visualize, see, experience whomever your guides or your ancestors may be, or your spirit animals. So I just want everybody to be open, be in a state of allowing and receiving, and we'll go ahead and get started. Go ahead and are we able to dim a light or anything of the sort? I don't know, will it be too dark? That's good. That's perfect. Yeah, we gotta set the tone. All right. I have a mic here. To prepare your body and yourself. I want you to relax your entire being. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath in and another deep breath out. If you see me move, it's because energy is moving and energy tends to move me. So let's take one more breath in. And out. If you're carrying any tension in your feet, relax your feet. If you feel any tension in your legs, relax your legs. If there's any tightening in your hips, relax your hips. Let's move up to your shoulders. Relax your shoulders. Allow your arms
to go limp on your lap. And allow the stress or any tensions of the day to release and cleanse and clear from you. We begin this meditation in the void, in a dark space. You may close your eyes as we begin to journey together collectively. Envision yourself in this space. Look to your right. There is nothing but darkness. Look to your left. There is nothing but darkness. Look in front of you, and there is nothing but darkness. However, off into the distance, you see a staircase leading up to the heavens, illuminated with golden light. I want you to begin to walk towards this staircase, going up and further towards this staircase. Now you're at the beginning of the staircase. And I want you to take notice that this staircase is hardwood. I want you to take one step up and another step up and another step up until you're at the top of the staircase. And I want you to notice a door. This door is hardwood, cherrywood oak. And there is a golden knob on your right-hand side. I want you to visualize how shiny it is. And I want you to place your right hand on this knob. And I want you to turn it and open the door. Step into this new space. As you step into this space, you notice that it is warm. There is grass beneath your feet. The birds are chirping. There are butterflies. The sky is sunny. And there's love surrounding you. Off into the distance, there is a waterfall, mountains, trees. This is a safe and sacred space. This is a space where you get to connect to different beings, your highest self, your ancestors, spirit guides. I want you to notice how the grass feels beneath your feet, how warm the earth is, how lush the grass is. Now I want you to look off into the distance. And there is a two-seater bench off into the distance, waiting for you to step forward and take a seat. Now I want you to begin to walk towards this bench. What does it look like? Continue to step forward until you arrive directly in front of the bench. And I want you to take a seat to your far right. Turn your head to the left, and you notice there's a forest and a mountain over in the distance. But there is a glow coming from inside of that forest, a small glowing light. And this light is coming towards you. And it's getting bigger and bigger with each and every movement towards you. Soon you start to see the silhouette of a person as they walk towards the bench to happily greet you with love, with care, the connection. Who is this being that is coming towards you? What do they feel like? Now they are standing directly next to you at the bench, and they're going to take a seat right next to you. Spend some time in this space, connecting, listening, discovering who this being or person may be. Is it an ancestor? Is it a guide? Allow yourself to connect with this benevolent spirit that is here to love you. As you connect with this beautiful being, they are now beginning to stand up. Give them a hug, shake their hand, wish them a good farewell as they begin to leave and go back into the woods where they came from. And envision this light, the silhouette of a person beginning to get smaller and smaller and smaller as they walk back into the forest. Give gratitude, give thanks for this space, for this moment, for this energy, for their presence, and their ability to connect with you. Remain seated at the bench, feeling the energy and the love and the warmth of the space. Now there is an animal coming towards you. Is this animal small? Is it big? What is it doing? Is it looking at you? Allow this animal to bless you with their energy and their presence. Thank them for gracing this space and acknowledging you and for the message that they have for you. Now visualize this animal walking off into the distance. Take a breath in and take a breath out. Begin to smile in this space and thank this healing space for its energy. Now I want you to stand up and turn around and begin to leave the bench. And off into the distance, you see the door, the cherry wood oak door with the golden eye in the middle of the field. Begin to walk towards this door. There is nothing behind this door. It's that more fields, more love, more healing energy. Now you are directly in front of this door. Place your hand on the knob, turn it, and open. You may close the door. You are now back into the void. You may now drop back into your body. Give thanks.
back, everyone. Would anybody like to share who they saw, what they felt?
I saw my grandpa.
You saw your grandfather. Beautiful. Shane, he's with you. Good thing. Has it been a long time since you've seen him?
Since
Wow. Wow.
and I was like, kid.
And your white cat. That's beautiful. We do have spirit animals that when they were in the living, if they pass on, they do stay. Some choose to stay and protect you. That's beautiful. So give thanks. Ashe.
I saw my Aunt Seal, which I've never seen her before, but I always know that it's her.
It's beautiful.
So I know it's her.
That's your Aunt Seal.
And I've been asking her to come and show me a relative where I can find a picture of her. So that's what I'm seeking for her to help me with.
It's powerful. Good thanks. It's been a minute since you've seen your aunt too?
She raised my mom. My mom was young when she had me. And so I just know of Aunt Seal, but I've never seen her.
Good thanks. Would anybody else like to share anything? All right. So, go ahead.
I was going to say, I actually saw a few people. I had a girlfriend, I'm not sure if it's because she was on the line, but she just recently passed like a month or two ago, and she was there. My father was there, my auntie was there. I saw a fox.
Okay, that's powerful. How do you go back? That's what you asked? Well, this is an exercise that you can do on your own time as well. This is up on YouTube if you want to follow along within your own time just to connect and go back there. But you can always open your mind and go inward. Visualize being in the void and going up the steps and going into that sacred realm and sitting next to your guides. And the reason why I sit them next to you is because they have so much to talk, to share, to give, to remind you of when they come in and they greet you within that sacred space. So if you have the opportunity, if you allow yourself to be at ease, calm the mind, calm the heart, remove some blockages off of you, you can travel to realms you never could imagine. Just being willing to sit and visualize and go into that space. What else can be shown? What else will you see beyond just a relative or an animal totem, And so with that being said, I just want to talk about really briefly, and then I can close out, about the importance of remembering who we are, honoring our ancestors and the ones who came before us, and the ones who will come after us. Many of us have gifts. Let me, just by a show of hands, how many people feel as though they have gifts? They're trying to figure it out. Yeah. And how many people feel like they're actively working in their gifts? It's powerful. Okay. And how many people are trying to figure out what it is that they have? Okay. It's beautiful. So each and every one of us are superhumans, right? We have the ability to shift beyond the programming, the conditionings, the manipulation, and tap into our God self. Each and every one of us have this innate power within us. So we want to make sure that we're spending time, again, within ourselves and being able to cleanse and clear, but access those different realms to continue to elevate. So I was talking about the importance of remembrance, because having these gifts and these powers are by no coincidence. A lot of people are here where we, as they say, we're under a spell, under a deep sleep. But once we awaken and we realize we're actually working with something special, powerful, magnificent, it's our duty to use these gifts. They're passed down through the bloodline, and they're given to us with good measure, for good reason, for good purpose. Because the ancestors and your guides believe in you, and they believe that you have the ability to get it done. They gave it to you, not somebody else, right? And so although many may feel like the black sheep of the family, you're not necessarily alone And a lot of people are wakening up to who they actually are, not what they're programmed or manipulated to be, and they're connecting with these gifts. So I want to encourage everybody that the ancestors go hand in hand, your guides go hand in hand in helping you to evolve and break the chains within your bloodlines. When we talk about the ancestors, they came to do things and they had a lot of work and a lot of unfinished things as well. And so with you beginning to connect with your ancestors and do the work with them, you're beginning to finish exactly what they started. So this is not just you taking care of yourself. It's not just you, tapping in. You're healing so many that have come before you because their energy lives within you. Their blood is in with you, their DNA, their memories, their hurt, their pain. And a lot of times when we first begin to connect with our ancestors, we feel a lot of that pain. And we have to clear that out first, then we'll get to work, right? So encouraging everybody in this space to expand on their gifts. Do not feel shame about hearing, seeing, knowing, being able to shift through energy or being able to, heal or help others or just feeling stuff on somebody and they don't even have to tell you a word, you just know. So continue to rise and grow. And I'm so excited for everyone and your growth and your elevation. And I just wanted to close out this beautiful event by our brother here with just a way to connect, a way to sense and feel, and also have some encouragement on your journeys. So thank you for having me.
Sure.
Thank you. Yes, that's it. Thank you so much. And does anybody have any questions, or we're pretty good?
Contact. You have contact information or?
Yes, I can give you my contact information. I saw a hand back there.
Okay.
You said we could find it on YouTube?
Yeah, you can find it on YouTube. My YouTube channel, it was Heal Travel Love. That's what it was back in the day. So this is an old guided meditation, about 4 or 5 years old.
But it works.
Yes.
Are you any other social media?
I'm on IG at the Shrine of Divinity. I do a lot of work for the community, river cleanse ceremonies, energy healing, plant medicine, retreats, sister circles. I do a lot of work for us. So you guys can find me there on IG at the Shrine of Divinity.
What if the spirit guide came to you and you don't recognize them, or you didn't know who they were?
That's
Is
okay.
that bad?
That's not bad at all. That's absolutely normal. A lot of times we don't know who our spirit guides are. That's why we're seeking to connect. So whatever visual that you got, just keep that visual with you. And when you start to do work within meditation and you're choosing to travel or expand in certain ways, or push yourself beyond certain dimensions to get the information and things that you need, your guides will be right there to help you, to cover you, and to protect you along the way. So just remember who they are and keep them close.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know if you make it.
Thank you. I don't make it, but I do know there's a I got this ring. She comes in the river cleanse. Her name is Crystal Wasted. I can connect you if you send me a message on IG. Okay. We can find her jewelry.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, thank you guys for having me. If we don't have any more questions, I'm going to close out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
It's so funny though. I've had dreams about my aunt still before. She's in like a white uniform, and then I talked to my mom about it. She's like, yeah, she used to work at this school cafeteria. And you know how they back in the day they wore like almost like the nurses outfit. And so I've had a dream about a lady in that. So I think I'm actually seeing her.
Yeah.
Even though I've never seen her.
Yeah. That's powerful. You should connect more.
Yeah.
You weren't expecting to see. Yeah, a lot of people don't. Send me some healing energy. Everybody else wants to send just some love, some peace, just thanks. Actually. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, what can I say? Yeah, what can I say? I mean, this has probably been one of the greatest. Honestly, I know we've been seeing these little events for a minute. This today was very powerful and very special. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate, even from Don starting it off from the beginning, he set the tone with his energy. I wasn't expecting that. You know, I know, but you know, we just have to stay on this path of growth and knowledge of self. You know, just be better every day. Make yourself better every day, because there is a light at the tunnel. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing else that can be done to us. Our ancestors. You know what I'm saying? We've done it all. We're the, like what Bob Marley said. He said, we're the survivors, right? We are the survivors. You know, we're here. You know? So, utilize all the resources, the individuals that put, you know, the Sister Diamond, she's here locally, you know what I'm saying? The brother Don, he's here, you know what I'm saying? All these individuals are here to help the people. Even Priestess, she's here. And she's going to be getting out more to assist, to help, you know, the community more. So, you know, it's a very important time. That's why I put the emphasis on this sun cycle. You know, this is our time to shine, pun intended. You know what I'm saying? So you know, that's it. That's all I gotta say. Like I said, if you haven't already, please pick up my book. It's only $10. That book is the footnote. It's my personal footnote book, my tab button, so to speak, of the spiritual thing, because I've gotten so much information about my personal experiences, books as well, references, and also just different tools that we need to elevate. You know, that helps. You know, talk about like crystals. You know, like Priestess was talking about earlier. This stuff ain't just ornaments. You know what I'm saying? You know, your tools. You know, your like who was saying something earlier about the oracle cards. You know, yeah, the oracle cards. Yeah, the oracle cards. Yeah, all this stuff. They're all tools that we used to always do and use. You know what I'm saying, to elevate it. So you know, it's not a secret anymore.
Doing that network thing that y'all had? What was it called?
Oh, the companion of
Yeah. What is that? I saw a sign for it.
Yeah, well, pretty much it is. We have a Compendium Network Marketplace. Melissa, you might as well come out here. Compendium Network Marketplace is pretty much a network in which we have all of these individuals that we see, and it's like a reference. The easiest way is like a reference point in which if somebody comes to me and Melissa and say like, all right, we need help on spiritual healing, we say, Dr. Down. You know, if somebody wants to know about natal astrology, okay, we're gonna point you to Priestess, you know, or whatever the case may be. So that's the hub. That's our own hub for the community, you know, and it goes beyond just locally. You know what I'm saying? It goes, you know, to cross seas as well. You know, we just do our best to connect the right people. And even when Melissa here, she's a therapist. You know what I'm saying? This whole next door
is where I work. Reiki Services. So I have a collective of individuals that do holistic healing, naturopath. We have Dr. Dewani, who's normally here speaking, and she used to be a physician, but now a naturopath. But she understood exactly what was going on. She comes and she'll be in the spot every now and then. Okay. So follow Reiki Services, follow Compendium, and Reiki Services is REKE services.com. So when things are coming up like this, that's why we wanted to do the mailing list, so we can make sure that you guys can really understand.
Stay connected.
Stay connected. Okay. So
thanks to good sister that came all the way from Florida today.
And this brother came from New York. Mr. Thank you guys for coming. We definitely are honored.
Thank you so much. We don't get much of this down here.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it. We like to stay in our own little bubble. You know what I'm saying? If y'all say we might not have the biggest crowds, we get the best crowds.
Right. We come and get what we need.
Yeah. We keep it. You know, we keep
and
it.
You're supporting the vendors, please. They're still here, and the food vendor moved inside. So if you guys want to take something to go, just
please again.
But thank you again for coming out.
That's it.
Everybody taking the time on your busy Saturdays and a rainy Saturday when we're inside today.
All right, if you haven't, like I said again, please pick up a book. think there's some.
Yes, definitely. Your bros got make sure you support him. He always supports the community. And make sure that you are visiting everybody.
Yeah, visit all the vendors.
Make sure you visit all the vendors. Thank you.
Besides that, we out. Thank y'all.